Gallipoli, a tragic day in the nation's history in which over 2,000 soldiers died on that morning alone at Anzac Cove. Among them, 6 VFL, 10 WAFL and 4 SANFL footballers. Across Australia's military conflicts, 156 VFL footballers have made the ultimate sacrifice, including 30 past players from the two teams in action today. And these sides over the last 28 years have staged one of the nation's biggest sporting events on arguably the most important date on the national calendar, helping to tell the stories of the Anzacs to footy fans across the country. This is Grandstand AFL's coverage of the traditional Anzac Day clash between Essendon and Collingwood. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Cameron Ling, Mick Malthouse and Andrew Mays, your commentary team this afternoon. The forecast top was 21 degrees and mostly sunny. It is already 23 degrees, a beautiful day in Melbourne for Collingwood and Essendon. There is no late change for either team. Callum Brown and Nick Hind, the Medi subs for both teams. Matt Clinch is here. Good afternoon to you, Clinchy.
Hello, Corby. Good afternoon to everyone. We're just seeing the motorcade of veterans make their way around the outside of the MCG. They're expecting 30,000 at the Shrine of Remembrance for the dawn service this morning. They got 50,000, Corby.
Wow.
They're hoping for 80,000 at the MCG today. I think they might get more than that, judged especially on last night where we had a great crowd in of over 70,000 for the Anzac Eve clash between Richmond and Melbourne. So what a great occasion it's become. Hopefully what a great spectacle we're going to see this afternoon. Two contrasting storylines, the Bombers with just the one win. Collingwood started hot, winning their first 3 games. They've now lost their last 2, and all of a sudden questions around what sort of response are we going to see from the Bombers. And the good news is there's no late changes. So Jake Stringer and Zach Merritt will both take their spot in the selected side. And for Bombers fans, that couldn't come soon enough.
Oh, absolutely. The Bombers were 1-4 leading into the game last year. They won that fixture, but their form line was a little stronger, despite the fact that they're on the same amount of wins at this stage of the season. The crowd aspect that you touched on, Clinchy, so 78,113 was the crowd this time last year. It is the record since the pandemic began for a footy crowd. Of course, there was over 100,000 on track for the Formula One in Melbourne recently, but hopefully we're going north of that number today. Just over 78,000 this time last year, and a good roll-up last night with 70,000 for the Anzac Day Eve clash. Now, our Grandstand AFL experts, Mick Malthouse isn't here, so his seat is vacant in the box. He's been down at Collingwood during the week at the Glass House to address the group. He is currently in the inner sanctum with Collingwood, so addressing the team again. We'll hear from Mick when he makes his way back from the rooms, but Premiership captain, 3-time Premiership player Cameron Ling is with us. Hello, Lingy.
Hello, Corbs. Great to be here. It is a really special day to be involved in. I made sure I got the opportunity to walk across past the Shrine and through the Botanical Gardens on the way to this ground, and it was just so special to be able to see on a perfect day, a perfect Melbourne day, to see everybody out and about, and it's a really important day for all Australians. And then to walk into the MCG and you can see it just opening up that beautiful Coliseum that is the MCG, and all the Collingwood fans and the Bombers fans and the kids walking with their dads or their mums and their grandparents, and it really is a great day. So hopefully we get a good game of footy to match that special day. I'm intrigued about what the Bombers can produce and how they can respond, but I think Collingwood, given they've played some really good footy but then haven't had the results their way, can they go again? Can they really lift? That'll be great to watch as well. We know it's bigger than a game of footy. We know it's something very, very special and more than just a game of footy. But also, once that ball bounces, it is a game of footy, and a game of footy that both of these teams need to desperately win. And it is going to be hot, it is going to be physical, and it's going to be really electric footy, so I can't wait for this one.
The observance ceremony to come. Let's head inside both camps. The motorcade, as Clinchy said, is taking place at the moment. Both teams have finished their preliminary warm-ups, and we're very privileged to go inside the Collingwood camp with their vice-captain Taylor Adams, of course, All-Australian and Best and Fairest winner just a year ago in 2020. He's with Andrew Mays. Maysy.
Thanks, Corbin. Taylor, it's been a long time since you played. It feels like that way anyway. Tell us about the wait for the last game of the round and the showpiece of Anzac Day.
Yeah, it's been obviously we've had about 10 days off between games, so good for the body and the mind, but yeah, sitting around watching obviously the games of footy, get you really excited. So it's finally here. It's obviously a beautiful day in Melbourne today, so yeah, it couldn't be set for a better game of footy.
How closely have you watched Arms Out over the weekend?
Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to make sure I temper and keep under control. Yeah, I don't mind with the AFL going with it. It's, there's obviously some question marks about some of the decisions, but it's a really tough job for the umpires. So yeah, I think we can cut in some slack, and us as players just have to sort of adapt.
Tell us about the week leading up to Anzac Day, because you've obviously been involved in quite a few now. What does the club do? Did they do anything different this year round that you learnt or that you were able to impart on some of the youngsters who haven't been a part of this really special day?
Yeah, so this year, obviously, having Fly in charge, it felt a little bit different. He invited Mick Malthouse down to the footy club to speak to us, which was really, really cool. I think Mick represented Collingwood in 11 or 12 Anzac days, so he's got rich history with the day, and I think he's got a personal connection. He does have a personal connection to Anzac Day, and it was great for us to learn a little bit about what actually took place all those years ago through from 1914 onwards, and to hear him talk with so much passion, not only about the day itself, but about the sacrifice, and there's plenty of learnings for us to take out of it, which was really cool.
Let's head upstairs, gentlemen. We've got a couple of minutes with Taylor.
Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. Just on that theme of the younger guys and experiencing the Anzac Day clash, perhaps for the first time, what do you have to talk to them about? Do you actually have to go through what happens with the ceremony, with everything that goes on before this game, and to almost not be too ready too early to play? Yeah, absolutely, Ling. You know it yourself. You played in heaps of big games. You can almost play the game before you get to the ground. So trying to keep things as normal as possible until we get here, and then really we spoke about just soaking it all in. It isn't a normal game. This is a bigger game than most. So it gives those guys an opportunity to get a taste of sort of what a final feels like. And we obviously spoke about the ceremonies and I guess the build up to the game, pre-game. So it's really hard to put into words for these young guys that almost have to go out there and experience it. So looking forward to seeing how they handle it, but exciting day for them. Once the game does start, just the confidence of the group. At times you've played brilliant football this year, but the results have just been going against you the last few weeks. The confidence of those young guys, do you have to address anything there, or you just keep backing them in and encouraging them to take the game on? No, they've been fantastic for us. Just reinforcing that our best footy does stack up, and we're a hard team to play against when we all play together, and that'll be the theme of our day today. Making sure everyone feels supported out there, and we focus on playing our roles. Nothing more than that. The results haven't gone our way, but we've played footy that we're happy with, just not for long enough. So we hope that the result takes care of itself if we do that.
Taylor Adams is with us on ABC Sport. Taylor, it's Matt Clinch. It's a new look midfield in 2022, and everyone's excited to see Nick Dacos. But Josh Dacos has had a phenomenal start to the season. Are you playing sort of a leadership role in that centre forward with such a different look?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Josh has been awesome. Obviously, getting Nick in, he's been fantastic. A kid that's just soaked in absolutely every second of his experience at the footy club so far, and given back so much already. So. There's a number of guys in there that are leading. Obviously Brody Grundy's a really experienced player. Jack Crisp, myself. We're working really closely with Brendan Bolton and Scott Selwood. So we've liked what we've seen. We've got a really good mix in there of sort of that grunt in and under style players, and then guys that can really expose teams on the outside. So. As I said before, to answer Lee's question, it's more just about the consistency and making sure we do that for longer periods. And
Brody Mychek comes back in alongside Geordie De Goey. You don't have a player who's kicked over 10 goals, but is it the system and the pressure which the side is providing as the main focus rather than who's finishing the work inside 50 at this stage of the progression? Yeah, absolutely. We want to have a number of guys at the scoreboard each week. You only have to look to last night to see the best team in the comp and how they do it, and they would have had 10 or 12 goal scorers. So, that's our focus. It's not necessarily about who puts the ball through the big sticks as long as it goes through.
Taylor, you're playing your 5th Anzac Day clash today against Essendon. If you were to speak to a couple of the guys in your team that are playing their first one, what would you be telling them today as one thing to keep in mind?
I think the importance of just embracing the difference of what this game represents, and obviously there's 4 points on the line today, and that's hugely important, but I mean, what we're actually doing here is paying homage to the people that sacrifice, that continue to sacrifice for us. So just keep that in the back of their minds, and know that the day is actually bigger than a game of footy. We're really, really honoured and privileged to go out and represent the AFL and our football clubs, both Essendon and Collingwood, by playing today. So, make sure you take it all in and make the most of it. There are opportunities that once you finish footy, no doubt you'll miss dearly.
Your time's very much appreciated. So close to the bounce. Enjoy the day. Thanks for your company again on ABC Radio today.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Taylor Adams, the vice-captain of the Collingwood Football Club. Lingy, it's always great to hear from the players at any time, but particularly so close to such a big game.
And a massive game. Really kind of him to make himself available. They do have the experience on their side in this game. They've got 10 100-plus game players coming into this game. Essendon have got 5. And that matters. That really does. With such a huge build-up and such a long build-up, the ceremony is incredible, but those players have got to be out there standing and paying their respects for a long time. So the more experience you can have and just that calmness in that moment to really soak it in, stay focused but really calm, and then be ready to go when the ball bounces. That's important, and that comes from playing in these games and playing in big finals which have a similar build-up. Essendon with only the 5, and because Devon Smith's not playing, would have made it 6. There's so many that maybe are just looking around going, what do we do? Are we supposed to stay here? Should we be moving more? Should we be doing more? Do I need to be... And just that little bit of panic can set into their mind. So Collingwood certainly go into this, I think, with an experienced, calm group. But the cool thing about these games, Corbs, is sometimes it doesn't matter, because sometimes that youthful enthusiasm and bodies just getting thrown in and smashing in early, it can rattle even the most experienced side. So the first 10 minutes will tell us so much of this game.
The two subs, Nick Hind for Essendon and Callum Brown for Collingwood. There's no late change for either team, so it means Merritt and Stringer are playing for the Bombers. We're about to head into their camp with Blake Carousella. Quick update though on what's happening in the early fixture. So there's 2 games on this Anzac Day, Monday of round 6. Sydney and Hawthorn, and boy is it a thriller midway through the final quarter at York Park in Launceston. So Hawthorn lead it by a point, but their former superstar premiership player a couple of times over, Lance Franklin, has just taken a mark in the forward pocket. So Hawks by 1, but Franklin shooting in the forward pocket. There's a call available of that game through the ABC Listen app. Look out for the AFL Extra icon, and I can tell you he's kicked it. So we've got a lead change in the final quarter. Swans up by 5. We'll keep you updated. York Park in Launceston.
Paddy McCartan subbed off in that game with a concussion issue, which is a real worry given his history. I think Logan McDonald, the same, has been subbed out as well. Sorry, not subbed out, but he's off with a knock as well. So big comeback by the Swans.
Absolutely. They're up by 5. We'll keep you updated with what happens there. They tell me Maisie's made his way over to the Essendon race. He's got the assistant coach of the Bombers with him in Blake Carousella. Maisie.
Thanks, Corbin. Blake, I'll start by asking you, are there days, I know you've been out of the system a long time now, but are there days that you miss occasions like this as a player and wish you were out there?
Yeah, I was saying to Jake Stringer and Zach Merritt before, this is the one day of the year that I wish I was still playing.
It's an amazing day, a beautiful day at the MCG, a big chance to bounce back after last week. How quickly do you reset? Sunday night, Monday morning. When's the slate clean and we're focused on Anzac Day?
Yeah, you tend to keep the same routine. So we review the game. It's a longer break between games this week. So once we're back at the club, maybe 2 days post game from last week. Review that game and move on pretty quickly. We're trying to get our game up to a level that can compete with the best teams in the competition, and right now it's not there, but hopefully today we can take a step forward. Youthful team. Do you talk to a lot of the youngsters about trying to maintain that level of stability and so get out of that emotional roller coaster? Yeah, we are a very young team, right across the board, back line, inexperienced down there, midfield and the forward line. But I think this year we've shown we're very competitive against Brisbane and Melbourne, and didn't quite get over the line there. And last week, I think in the first half, we probably should have been in front, and the second half's been well documented. We need to get better, though. With youth comes inexperience, and they just need to do what they do for a bit longer. The older guys might be used to it by now, but when you get 2 big inclusions, obviously Merritt and Stringer back in the lineup today, do the youngsters get a buzz? Can you see them sort of walk a bit taller as they come out here? Hopefully. I don't think you need a buzz today, though. It's such a great spectacle and an event to play in, to come out and play and perform and remember the Anzacs from the past, the present, and the future too. It's a really good day. It's going to be hot early. Collingwood are renowned for their pressure, and they've been very good at that this year. We need to handle that. We haven't handled it against Geelong, and at times last week Fremantle. So we need to be up for the fight in tight and make sure we are, and then we're a chance to go okay.
Let's head upstairs. Gentlemen.
Cara, thanks so much for joining us ahead of this massive game. You talk about the youth of the team, and it's certainly there, and no doubt they'll be keen to get out there and have a crack. But do you really put it on your older players, your experienced players, that they must lead the way so that those young blokes have a bit of a course to follow?
Oh, of course we do. We've got a really, we've got a bunch of 24, 25-year-olds. We've got a few out at the same time, but Zach Merritt's back in the team, Stringer, Shield, those type of players who need to lead the way. Our younger players look up to them and see what they're doing, and they need to make sure that what they're doing is first rate, and hopefully across the board we can connect as a team.
And you made a pretty strong statement when it comes to some of those experienced players during the week with Devon Smith not playing. Can you tell us, when you make a call like that with selection, is it purely just for him, or is it something you hear of, it's a statement selection? Is it to send a message to the rest of the group as well?
I think at different times, probably different reasons for picking a team, a selection of one individual. Devon's, he played quite well the other week. He came off as a sub and played a really good half of football. And last week he just not quite fulfilling his role to the level we expect him to complete it. So he knows that. He's going to go back, and when he's playing well, he's a fantastic player for us. He's played some really good football this year and last year as well. But he needs to make sure that consistency is there, because we spoke about it before. He's one of the leaders. He's one of the older players, and he needs to perform to a certain level.
Sitting up in the coach's box, 20 minutes into this game, what do you need to be seeing to think, okay, we're on, and we really understand what our messages have been all week?
Yeah, I touched on it before. The Collingwood game styles all around pressure around the footy. Their mids, their backs, they're just going to press up the whole time and put pressure on and try and win the ball back. They might expose themselves out the back occasionally, but we need to make sure, first and foremost, that we're up for the fight. I spoke about it before. We need to win the ball, fight tackles, make sure we've got support around the footy, and hopefully get the ball forward and score, if not defend. And our defence has been a work in progress this year, and even last year. It's been well documented as well. We need to defend better. So two things we need to really focus on today is that contest work, winning the ball. But if we don't win it, we need to stop Collingwood taking the ball forward.
Essendon assistant coach Blake Carosella is with us on ABC Sport. Blake, I think all Bombers fans had a bit of a lift when Zach Merritt and Jake Stringer were both named, be it on Thursday before the main session to take place, the game obviously on Monday. So Zach, initially diagnosed with the syndesmosis injury, was sort of 6 to 8 weeks. He's back sort of inside a month. What was the things he had to pass on Saturday to prove that he was right to play on Monday?
Oh yeah, he's done remarkably well to get back and play. I think the injury wasn't as bad when they did the surgery. It wasn't as bad as they thought. So the 4 weeks was probably a surprise, but I think initially we were thinking 5 weeks. So he's got back a week earlier than expected, and he's a class player. And so is Jake Stringer. He's had a hamstring. He's right to go. So they missed a bit of footy. They might be a bit rusty, but I think the class will show out.
And obviously been involved in footy for a long time. What was it like to sit in the main chair? Was it what you expected it would be, with Ben Rutten obviously in regular dialogue from home?
Yeah, it was a little bit different with Truck on the phone. I did it about 10, 15 years ago with Nick Moldhouse down on the bench, and he was talking up to the communications as well. But I think the main difference was you're across more of the club. There's a lot of communications with the staff, football staff, players, trainers, doctors, and it's a real management job, I guess, and you delegate a lot of the responsibilities to helpers.
Blake Carosella, assistant coach with the Bombers on Grandstand AFL. Blake, it's Corbin Middlemass. You've spoken a bit about the effort areas for Essendon, and I think as sort of Essendon supporters are probably most upset with the team this year is that a lot of the time there hasn't been the willingness to work. Can you trust them as a group that they are going to get it done today?
I've got no doubt our players, their intent to work's first class. Now, last week in the media, you would have seen a few players not chased down, but I think a lot of the players are putting their effort into the wrong areas at the moment, not balanced with their effort. So if they put too much effort into chasing the ball and trying to find a kick, it turns over and you've got no effort to go the other way. So we need to just balance that out. Our players want to play. They want to be a good football team. There's no doubt about that. They just need to make sure that they invest in all three areas of the game.
It seems like a basic stat to look at, but the tackle count difference between 2021 and 2022. So you were 1-4 to start last year leading into Anzac Day. You're 1-4 again. This year you're the worst tackle team in the competition. Last year you were number 1 in that particular area. What do you put that down to?
Probably a few things. We got probably 8 of our first 18 not playing at the moment, so that doesn't help. But I think the other teams are getting better at buffering contact and using shape. And we need to get better. Our defence isn't good enough right now. We need to get better around the contest first and foremost so we can win the ball. But if we don't win it, our tackle pressure has to be there, because if it's not there, the ball comes out too easy and goes down the ground. So that tackle pressure is going to help our defence, but at the same time, we want to win the ball first too. So you don't want to invest too much in winning the ball, because you might expose yourself on the outside. But we've got to find the right balance there.
And just last year, you've spent a lot of your life around the Essendon Football Club. You're an assistant coach now. You're a premiership player. The club today wearing the 24 poppies on the sash for Jack Jones, but they have 20 past players that were killed in action. So a rich military history and a crossover with the Essendon Football Club. What has been done around the club this week, I guess, as a nod to that and the role that the Bombers are playing here today?
Yeah, we had an Anzac come and speak to us during the week, and it was all about trust, really, trusting each other to get the job done, and how he knew that his teammates will do what is needed to look after him, and vice versa. And that's somewhat similar to, or very similar to how we need to play today. We need to make sure that we can execute our role, and having full faith that their teammates will do the same thing.
Always love your insights, Blake. Good luck today. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Blake Carousel, our assistant coach with the Essendon Football Club. The joint banner is being laid out on the northern wing at the moment in front of the members stand, which has become customary in games between Essendon and Collingwood on Anzac Day. It is the 27th edition of this clash, which originated way back in 1995, and Collingwood holding the head-to-head ledger 15-10, and there's been a draw, of course. That was the first fixture. As Collingwood make their way out of the change rooms, they're wearing a predominantly white strip today with the black stripes, which is made up of the sprigs of rosemary, traditionally worn as a symbol of remembrance on Anzac Day or on Remembrance Day. The rosemary grows wild on the fields of Gallipoli on the peninsula in Turkey. So that's the symbolism there as Collingwood are about to make their way onto the MCG. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clinch in commentary. Cameron Ling is here, and for the first time today, the man who holds the games record for most games coached in VFL AFL history, Mick Moldhouse, is with us. Hello, Mick.
Hello, Corby. How's things? How's the listeners? I hope they're all going to, if they can't watch it, enjoy our coverage of it. It's a magnificent day, and let me say, I know that we said off air, Corbin, you said, what's your week look like? It's been pretty much down at the Collingwood Football Club.
Here come the Pies. They're out on the playing arena. They'll await the arrival of the Bombers before they make their way through the banner. Tell us about it, Nick. How has the week been? What have you been up to?
Well, it started many weeks ago. I was going for a walk from my place through into Richmond, and I heard this beep, beep, beep of the car as I was walking past MCG, and it was Craig McRae. And I haven't really had a good conversation with him since he left Collingwood in 2011 as my he's I can't even think of the word, but he was one of the coaches,
like a development
coach,
yep.
And he just said, look, can I catch up with you? So we sat and had a coffee there one day, and then he said, look, I'd really love you to talk to the group. So I was one surprised but deeply honoured. It was just an amazing feel to say, well, with all what's going on and how long I've been in football, just to do that. But you just go back, I was just saying to Lingy before, you go back to a football club, there's only two there that I've had any association with, and that's Scotty Penalty and Steele Sidebottom. Nick Maxwell's there, of course. But as far as the play group goes, they're just young men that you've seen right through your time. Their hair might be a bit different, they might have come from different areas, but by and large they're the same kids. And what I noticed most of all was the gratitude of me going into the rooms, just coming up and saying how that they respect the fact that I've come back and were able to talk to them. And I really felt quite humbled with with that for a starter, but also humbled by the presence of two Afghan veterans who medals all over them. And as I said to those two young blokes, I might say their names in case they don't want them. I said, this is not war. They said, well, no, but the intensity is still tough. And I said, oh, yeah, but not life and death like you blokes. But they were in the rooms with me, and they loved it.
Here come the Essendon Football Club, led out by Dyson Heppel, who's playing today in his 10th Anzac Day clash. The Pies predominantly in white, Essendon are predominantly in black. They've got the black shorts on, and the red sash is made up of 24 red poppies, which signify the 24th Infantry Battalion, which served in New Guinea during World War II, and a member of that battalion was Jack Jones, who passed away just over 2 years ago. He was just 18 years of age at the time when he went away to serve his country. He came back to play 175 games with Essendon, won 3 premierships. He wore the number 24 in his career in honour of the Infantry Battalion. I don't know if you can do it in about 90 seconds or so, Mick, but what was the theme of what you said to Collingwood? What speech did you give?
It was basically about not forgetting the occasion. This isn't more than a game, it's an occasion. And one of the greatest things that you'll have is the opportunity to play before 90,000 people and all those that are listening and watching, but never forget what Anzac stands for. And remember what the words actually say. And it does incumbent New Zealand as well as Australia. So sometimes that's lost to us. But also the fact that so many have gone before and so many in front that will represent Australia in the military, loved ones, they've got families, they've got kids, and their sacrifices they made. So I don't think it's too much to expect that on a day like this that you give of your all, and most of all do for your mate, but just remember. And I look at the sign up there and it says always remembered. Well, I said to these boys, always remember why you're doing it.
And the names on the banner as well of the 30 players across the two clubs that have made the ultimate sacrifice across the world wars, as Scott Pendlebury and Dyson Heppel lead both their sides through the joint banner on the members' wing here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Collingwood and Essendon, the full Anzac observance ceremony to come shortly. The Bombers are 1 and 4, they're 15th on the table, while Collingwood are 2 and 3, currently 9th on the premiership ladder. They won their first 2 games. They started the season hot under new coach Craig McRae, but have cooled off in the last 3 games since. There is no late change for either side, so that means that Zach Merritt is out there, Jake Stringer is out there for the Bombers. Their Medi sub is Nick Hind. Meanwhile, for Collingwood, Callum Brown is the sub for the Pies. Quick score, Sydney leading Hawthorn comfortably.
ABC, your trusted source of accurate and timely emergency information.
We've had the ABC on basically all afternoon listening.
There's so much going on. Getting news is a priority.
Well, I'm a fan of the ABC.
It must be love, love, love.
I listen to the ABC every day. I'm extremely grateful.
ABC Radio, reliable source for information.
On radio, on the ABC Listen app and the ABC Emergency website.
It must be love, love, love.
ABC, stay connected.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
We're gonna be kids.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
At the time Australia's last major military conflict ended in 1972, over 31% of all VFL footballers served in the Australian Defence Force, 156 of those making the ultimate sacrifice. And for almost 3 decades now, these two clubs have come together to tell the stories of the Anzacs to footy fans across the country. It is Essendon and Collingwood from a sun-drenched Melbourne Cricket Ground. The forecast top was for 21 degrees. It is currently 24 degrees. The Bombers and the Pies are out on the playing arena conducting their preliminary warm-up. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Cameron Ling, Mick Malthouse, your commentary team. Andrew Mays is with us on the boundary. There is no late change. Nick Hind, the sub for the Bombers. Callum Brown is the sub for Collingwood. So Zach Merritt is back, having missed just the last 28 days with a syndesmosis surgery. And Jake Stringer returns from a hamstring complaint. Now, the full preview, lads, we've got the Anzac observance ceremony to come in about 7 minutes' time or so. What have you got for me, Lingy, off the top?
I'm a little nervous about the Jake Stringer decision, Corbs. I just want to get that out there. I had my concerns anyway when he was playing a couple of games earlier on in the year. his conditioning didn't look outstanding, and I'm not surprised that soft tissue injuries come from that. Now to come back in to such a high intensity, important game, if his overall conditioning as well as the potential little injuries not spot on, I worry, Mick. It's going to be explosive to start this game. Jake's an explosive player, and if his body's not cherry ripe, I just have my concerns.
Well, Lingy, one thing as a coach, you don't take injured players into big games. You might be able to nurse them through some games, but it might be a shoulder, it might be an ankle, but when it becomes muscular, there's no hiding. And I'll just say one stat to you, which I'm not going to harp on. I'm not going to say exactly what took place in the rooms today, but let me just say this. Essendon's tackles, the top, McGrath 16, Shield 13, 13, 13, 13. The top 5 for the Pies is Jack Griff's 28, 22, 21, 21, 19. There are 5 blokes already in front of the best bloke at Essendon. Let me say that the heat is going to be on. Collingwood are their number one side of keeping the ball in the front half. Even though they've dropped 3, you've got to remember that was a great game against Brisbane. Brisbane are not it's very rare that you can beat them up there. So Essendon will need every player to be able to run and chase and tackle and for 100 minutes.
And as you know, Mick, in order to be able to tackle, you need the help of your teammates off the ball to cut out that immediate outlet.
Yep.
You just need the ball carrier to hold on to the ball for half a second longer than he intends to, so you can lay the tackle. At the moment, Essendon are just not... they're refusing to do the work off the ball, which means there's just outlets all the time. So even the guys who might be trying to chase around the ball can't lay a tackle because the ball's gone immediately. So they all need to buy into that sort of focus to bring the pressure to Collingwood.
Yeah, I don't know, Lingy, did you see the game last week, Fremantle Essendon?
Yeah.
I was lucky that I had the weekend where I was able to take my 2 grandsons and 2 brother-in-laws, and I was able to sit and watch the game without sort of just, I just observed the game. I was staggered at the lack of intensity from Essendon. It was, I was sort of walking up here and thinking, there's been in the game for a while. You're going to play sides that are better than you, and they perform well on the day and they beat you. You go, okay, did we perform as well as we could? Yes. Right, okay, they're better than us. Sometimes they lower their guard a little bit. Did you play at your top to beat them? Sometimes not. Did you play a game, did you coach a game where you had lack of effort? Now, the answer is, of course, over the period that happened. But I cannot believe that this Essendon side from last year is a year older. Yeah, they had a couple of players out, this sort of stuff, but that is irrelevant. It's got to be exactly what you just said, the ability for everyone to be on the same page in regard to defensive hard work. They were pitiful in their tackling, their second efforts, and they got smashed at stoppages. Now, if that happens today, this is why I say about 100,000 or 90-odd thousand people here. They have the right to see sides go to each other and become an absolute cracking game. And when you're coaching Collingwood, you want to be there all the time. When you step away, you look and you think, maybe the best 2 sides should play in these games. Now, take nothing away because it's not going to happen, but you want Essendon to put their best boots on and their best performance, because I know the way Collingwood are, even though they've won 2 and lost 3 in a row, they haven't embarrassed themselves. Essendon did last week.
So what sort of response do you expect from Essendon? They've been the talk of the town. All the vision has showcased the slipping standards from last year, having featured in finals, to this year, the lack of defensive intent and the ability that they've been scored so easily, averaging over 100 points against them. So do you expect the senior players in the side to really set the tone early here, or how do you try and address that when you're a coach?
Yeah, they should, but this is the question. And this is the thing about reliability. I was talking to a young player down there, and he said, they're going to come at us and stuff. Yeah, but I said, for how long? Because how long that will last with how long your pressure will be. Because all the stuff about pre-game and this crowd and everything else, they will say, we've got to have a crack. It's so false if you can't butter it up on the 6th minute, or the 16th minute, the 66th minute, and the 96th minute, because that's just laying down false foundation. So, and I'll say, Lingy, I can't find too many leaders out there.
No, that's my worry, because last week it was, look to a Dylan Shield and a Devon Smith. Zero leadership. Smith gets dropped, and quite rightly so. So Dylan Shield, what does he do? I mean, Dyson Heppel will play to a standard, but who else? Who else? They have to drive the standards of the group. You're right, they will come out breathing fire, Essendon, but it will be false fire unless Collingwood let them play that way and come at them. Geelong Hawthorn last week, exactly what happened. Hawthorn came out breathing fire, but Geelong allowed them to play, so the Hawthorn players started feeling great about themselves, and they go on and have a terrific win. If Collingwood come with the right frame of mind, they should be able to put out any of that breathing fire and just go bang to the Bombers.
Well, they got Pendlebury, they got side bottom, and you look
Taylor
around
Adams,
Taylor Adams. I looked at him as I walked in that room, and I thought, he's going to be one of those warriors. Like I regard Selwood as one of the best warriors I've seen in current football. So that's what sides are built on. That warrior type player.
The two teams are lining up for the Anzac observance ceremony. We've got our audience with us right across the country from ABC Radio in Tasmania that have just joined us from Sydney and Hawthorn. The Swans winners by 41 points there. Some concussion concerns for Paddy McCartan. Big finish for the Swans coming from behind in the final quarter. The two teams lined up on opposite sides of the centre square. The flags are to their right. At centre half forward at the city end of the ground, Hamish McLaughlin is the MC. He's going to take us through the observance ceremony for the 27th time, the Anzac Day clash between Collingwood and Essendon.
Anzacs on Anzac Day and all those who followed them in the service of Australia.
Colourfolk Party, slow! Colourfolk Party, halt! Colourfolk Party, outwards! Colourfolk Party, rest on!
The Australian Football League, Collingwood and Essendon football clubs and the MCC invite you to join the coaches, players and umpires in honouring the memory of Australia's servicemen and women who gave their lives for the nation. Our thoughts too were those currently deployed. Would you please rise and remove your hats for the Anzac observance. We welcome today the President of the Victorian Returned and Services League, Dr. Robert Webster, OAM.
In memory of the fallen, they shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Colourfolk Party, attention! Colourfolk Party, present out! Catafalque Party, attention!
Lest we forget.
Please remain standing for the New Zealand National Anthem, performed today by Private Hetty Adams from the New Zealand Army Band.
Catafalque Party, General Salute, present! Arms!
Please remain standing for the Australian National Anthem, performed today by leading aircraft woman Chloe Brewer-Jones from the Australian Air Force Band.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea.
Telephone party! 8-10! Jet! Telephone party! Inwards! Turn! Telephone party! By the right! Quick! March!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
It's always special to be at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's particularly special to be here when it's fallen on this day. And to give you a haunting perspective, there were over 100,000 Australian soldiers that died at the First and Second World Wars alone, not including other conflicts that Australia have been a part of. So if you look around the Melbourne Cricket Ground, it's an awful amount of people and families impacted by the events of all those years ago. It is Essendon and Collingwood on Anzac Day at the MCG. We're so lucky to have Mick Malthouse here with us. Mick, take us back to when you coached Collingwood on this day. What is the last thing you're saying to them as you leave the group and send them out onto the ground?
Corbin, it's one of those moments. I just looking around for a start off, when this first was a concept, there were still people who wanted to be yahoos and made a noise and all this sort of stuff. It's self-regulating. So there could have been a pin drop and you would have heard it because everyone has got so much reverence for the day. So when you become a coach and you're out there on this day, it is one of the most spine-tingling moments when that last post is played. And I've got to say, the two young singers singing the anthems of both countries, they were outstanding today.
Brought their best bugler too today.
Oh, the bugler was out. Yeah, and it just grabs you. So when you get back up into the coach's box, you think, it's like a final. I put this down as the big stage, and it's probably the second or third game. I mean, grand finals are grand finals, and prelims are pretty big. But this one here, you're almost exhausted. Time to get back out. It's not the matter of running up the race and getting up into the coach's box. Your mind just goes, look, I don't know if I can say anymore. And the more you think you should say, the more irrelevance it has because you've already gone through it.
Andrew Mays is on the boundary for us this afternoon. Maisie, we're up here in the box. What's it like down there on boundary level?
Yeah, beautiful, poignant ceremony, Corbin. And one thing it is just a pleasure to be back here and experience that at the MCG with just about a full house. This crowd today, I would estimate, is pushing up over 90,000 people. So a lovely touch to be so significant on such a special day in the Australian landscape. 24 degrees down here as well, so it's not a bad day for it either. It was only supposed to be 21. We've hit 24. Hardly a breath of breeze as well. So perfect conditions for football. Can't wait for this one. It's going to be a big roar in about 90 seconds' time.
It is the biggest footy ground since the pandemic started. Quick tip, Lingy?
I've got to go with the Pies. Their experience through the middle of the ground is going to be crucial. Even just looking now as they head to the centre bounce, Taylor Adams, Jordan De Goey, Steele side bottom, Jack Crisp with that youth as well. I think they'll have the night, but I just want to see what Essendon bring. Can they bring a bit of heat early?
Quick tip, Nick?
Oh, I'm going for the Pies. I think the Pies should do it over the journey. It'll take 4 quarters, though.
For the 27th time, footy's tribute to the troops. It's Essendon and Collingwood on Grandstand AFL, and you're with Matt Clinch.
So players are in position, and we're ready to go. The roar at the MCG as Brodie Grundy wins the opening tap for Collingwood. Comes away a Parrish for the Bombers. Couldn't get it to Merritt. Little fumble. Crisp over the footy for the Pies. Hand pass to De Goey. 1-2 with Adams inside 50 over the head of Kruger. Lunging forward. Laverty dropped the mark. A chance for Myercheck. Hand pass for Collingwood just wide of Hoskin Elliott. Gives it to Sidebottom. 48 metres out. Screws it towards the corridor. Kruger in the pack. Can't take the mark. Martin for the Bombers. Hand pass to McGrath. Stripped of it. Still a chance for Collingwood. Myercheck can't get boot to ball. Laverty comes up with it. Hand pass to Ridley. Drives a kick towards half back. Noble in a wrestle with Guelphy. Noble gathers. Tackled. The reinforcements arrive. Hobbs lays the tackle. And the umpire will ball it up on the southern wing.
8 Essendon players in their first Anzac Day. There's 5 out there for Collingwood. as Draper leaps up. He wins the hit out, but straight to side bottom, who hooks a kick to half forward. Ridley back with it, hands to the footy, no mark, lands in the lap of Hoskin Elliott. He's locked up straight away.
Seems to be all 6v6 and just watching this and forward line. 2, 4. No, they got 5, so there's one extra at the stoppage.
Grundy down to Adams, hand pass picked off, but not before he was pushed in the back. Free kick for Taylor Adams. And he'll take it up left half forward. The man on the mark 50 metres out. And that Zach Merritt short kick's a good one, and Jack Ginnivan skids in to take the sprawling mark. Still on a 45-degree angle, but he's about 35 metres out.
And they'll try that all day. Dyson Heppel's opponent, just those little lead-ups.
Yeah.
Dyson Heppel will want to be the helper back, will want to read the play, get involved and find the footy. His opponent for the entire game will just keep hitting up at the ball. A good play there by Ginnivan. Got in the right spot. Good hard little lead.
Cheeky small forward with the peroxide hair. Jack Ginnivan to hook the kick across his body. He snaps. He goes. The kid built for the big stage kicks the first on Anzac Day. Collingwood 1 straight 6. Essendon yet to score. 2 minutes travelled on Grandstand AFL.
I think it's more the way they've done it too, Lingy. I mean, it's just drive that ball in, set the wall up behind play. Anything that's going to come out, it's the old style. Just take the ground. Don't give it back. Make it a trench fight inside the front 50.
And that's what concerns me, with the youth of that Essendon backline. Think of Ridley and Laverty and Redman and Zirk Thatcher, young players. The most experienced one is Dyson Heppel, but you can get him on the lead, like Ginnivan just did then.
Yeah, and because he's trying to shuffle around and make sure everyone else is in the right spot, sometimes he just gets left at his own position.
So the second-year pie opens proceedings on this 2022 edition of Anzac Day. Back in the middle, Grundy and Draper comes down the way of Shields. He bursts out of the middle of the ground for the Bombers. Looks to king inside 50. Long ball into the left forward pocket. Baldwin, the target, couldn't take the mark. Howe dropped the chest mark in the end for Collingwood. Noble fires out the hand pass to Josh Dacos. Links up with Lipinski. Hand pass away to Crisp. Through the middle of the ground, the kick over the head of Grundy. He races back after it. Collingwood are on the attack. He takes a bounce. Almost run down. Just got a little toe poke away as Parrish almost wheeled him in. Over the footy now, Adams for Collingwood. Umpire circles. He gives him the benefit of the doubt. He'll toss it up just short of centre half forward on the edge of the centre square. Collingwood leading by 6 points.
No late change, so Merritt and Stringer both out there for the Bombers as Grundy wins the hit out centre half forward for the Pies. Lipinski, hand pass to Josh Dacos, kicks into the pocket. Myercheck, the one-hander, takes it just inside the boundary line.
Oh, Laverty just grabbed at his hammy there a little bit too. He was the defender defending Myercheck. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Seeing the replay, just outstanding control of the body by Myercheck, took it clean. Great grab. To be going at that speed and to be able to hold off an opponent and still have the body control to take it one-handed. That's superb.
So strong. Strong. Every part about him, look at his legs, they're just so strong around his shoulders.
Missed last week with the COVID protocols. He snaps, he doesn't get a piece of it at all. Kicks a flat one across the goal face, and in the end, Ginnivan can't control it. It's through from behind. That's a horrific kick. A minor score. Collingwood 1-1. Essendon yet to score. 4 minutes in.
You just mentioned Jake Stringer playing, of course, Corbs. Maynard with the matchup. That is a brilliant matchup. Those two going at it all day.
Yeah. Well, he won't let him off the hook. No. He's that hard.
Ample short kick to Merritt. Found Cox back to Merritt. Now to Parrish at the back edge of the centre square. Hand pass to the Bombers captain in Heppel. Kicks up towards Durham. He takes the mark. He can feed the hand pass wider still to Shield. He kicks inside 50. An awkward ball for Stringer. Never got to him. Howe's hand pass punched on by Maynard. It works for Collingwood. Comes to Grundy and now to Lipinski. Raking kick out to the southern wing where Hoskin Elliott can take the mark.
Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yeah, looks like a left hamstring complaint for Laverty. He's just having a chat to the doctor as we speak. I'll update you soon.
Hoskin Elliott short to side bottom. His kick's a turnover. Puts it onto the chest of Ridley. Takes the intercept mark for Essendon. Goes short to McGrath, the number 1 pick from 2016, chips along the boundary line to another high draft pick, Nick Cox, who marks and goes laterally back to McGrath. Defensive side of the wing in the shadows of the Ponsford stand. He plays on. Hand pass away towards Cox again. He gives it to Parrish, kicks into centre square for Redmond. He's got Heppel all alone out on the northern wing. Gets it to him eventually, but on the bounce. Draws the defender in Josh Dacos. Hand pass over to Martin. Martin 55 out. Kicks for big 2-metre Peter, who takes the mark at left half forward. He's 5 in from the boundary line on his left-hand side.
Yeah, I was watching that play. Peter Wright stood where Darcy Moore is now, say 40 metres out, near the fence. Darcy Moore had him and then thought, no, this kick's going to the goal square, so he turned his back, and time he turned back, of course, the ball went out to Wright. So good play by Wright to hold his ground.
He's kicked 6 in his last 2 games against the Pies. Peter Wright from 50. His drop punt starts left, sails back, but hits the post. 3/4 of the way up. It's Essendon's first score, a poster. They're 1 behind. Collingwood are 1-1-7. We're 6 minutes in on Anzac Day.
Jeremy Howe quickly brings Collingwood back into play in the right back pocket for Pendlebury. Over the top to Nick Dacos. What an occasion to play on Anzac Day with your brother in front of probably close to 90,000, if not beyond that. Back to Pendlebury, trying to find a steering option outside of the defensive 50. Instead goes short to Quaynor. The Pies showing impatience. Now Noble's free. Spots him in the corridor. Short to DeGoey, who takes it down low in front of Martin. Collingwood still hemmed inside their defensive 50. Kicks up to the members' wing now. Myercheck's lead is on it. He marks on his chest. Doesn't have a lot further afield. Ignores the lead in the end. It's presented at half forward by McInnes and goes shorter still than that. And Ginneman takes the mark just in front of the Collingwood bench.
This isn't going to help Essendon's tackling numbers. They can't even get the ball into a 50-50 contest at the moment. Picking them apart.
Kicks down the line for Grundy and Draper knocks it out of play. So it's throwing 60 out from the Pies goal.
That's better by Draper. Actually genuinely committed to the chase in the lead up and got the spoil. And now the ball is back into a 50-50 situation. But before that, Collingwood were just picking them apart by foot.
Pies by a goal after 8 minutes from the boundary throw-in. Draper knocks it down. Shield collects, throws it out to Durham. Quick hand pass to Perkins, away to Draper and Essendon get it out of the stoppage. Parrish, slick hand pass to Redmond. Kicks to centre half forward. The one-on-one and Waterman's got it. Took the mark. Magin slips over. And Waterman hugs it to his chest, 40 out, dead in front.
Oh, took some gambles with their hand passing, but because they had speed up, they were able to break through any potential tackle. And that's a good one-on-one down there. I would have thought Magin would have had him. But he went to ground, Lingy. Once you go to ground, you are in dire straits.
He's so strong, Waterman, isn't he?
Yeah, he built like his dad. I know I shouldn't say too much about that, but his dad was similar.
To the punt right hand for Essendon's first. The lefty whacks it straight through. The Bombers are in business. After 9 minutes, Essendon are 1-1-7. Collingwood 1-1-7. Alec Waterman kicks Essendon's first on Anzac Day. This is Grandstand AFL. Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse.
I know what you're saying, Mick, about the risk, but I feel like that's what Essendon have to do.
They have to do it. I'm not denying that.
To throw it round and get that run. Terrific run from Redmond. He took off and really burst through the middle of the ground. That's going to be their best opportunity because the long, high, slow ball, Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe are going to pick off all day long. So risk, reward, and they get it there. That's what they're going to have to persist with. The trouble is, if it turns over, what sort of layers are they going to have behind it? That's my only little concern, but great play on that occasion.
The voice of Cameron Ling alongside Mick Moldhouse, Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass and Andrew Mays with you on ABC Sport. Bounce back in the middle. Grundy used his knee to win down the tap against Draper. Onto it, Caldwell. He's tackled and locked up. And the umpire will throw it up, still in the outer of the 2 centre circles. A lot of numbers around this stoppage. Draper wins down the tap to Parrish. Fires out a hand pass to Merritt, back to Redmond. Kicks out to the southern wing out in front of Cox. He can run onto it. Now where to as he looks to half forward. Guelphy's on 50, wants to send it deeper than that, or in fact it might favour him. Almost takes the mark on 50, can't mark. Noble for Collingwood, hand pass back to Pendlebury, works it over the top to Dacos, rode the tackle with a hands pass, back to Magin, and now to Adams, whose hand pass is just a bit loose at Pendlebury, has enough time to gather, but now Guelphy lays the tackle. It was just over the shoulder though. The Collingwood captain gets out of jail there. Free kick in the left back pocket.
Experience there, Clenchy, just lent in with that left shoulder. That is a lot of games of footy to draw that free kick.
In his 15th Anzac Day clash, only Dustin Fletcher's played in more of these games. as Pendlebury goes out wide to Howe, who marks at half-back. He kicks down the southern wing in the Cameron direction. Cameron comes down with the footy, but touched by Ridley on the way through. Deflects down to Redmond. Hand pass to Merritt, away to Parrish. And he sweeps his hand pass all the way back to Zerk Thatcher. Took an unkind bounce to go. He gets an opportunity trying to move his way in. Pack forms behind him. Kelly's locked up. He's in trouble, Jake Kelly. He's in a lot of strife. Holding the ball, says the umpire. And a free kick for the Magpies, and Myercheck straight in front.
Yeah, he went to ground as well. Unfortunately, he got himself in that awful position. Could have been a couple of little arguments for maybe over the shoulder at different times, but once you've gone to ground and collapsed over the ball and you can't get rid of it, even if it's pinned to you, you're going to get done every time.
Yeah. His second shot, first one was a shocker. This a drop punt from straight in front, no problem. Returns Collingwood to the lead. Myercheck with his first. Collingwood 2-1-13, Essendon 1-1-7. 12 minutes in on Anzac Day.
Well, been a good game. Been a good contest. If I go back probably 5 minutes ago when Collingwood broke from the back line and had to hold the play up, what intrigued me most was the work rate of Essendon to get in front of Collingwood and then block up the fast play. So it's early days, but that was terrific play by Essendon. But Collingwood worked their way through it. They lost it on the half-forward line. So this might be an Essendon that is going to be pushed to the limit defensively, because we've seen all year that they've been easily scored against. So perhaps that's what they're addressing more than anything else. And so far, I mean, it's 2 goals to Collingwood, and both were relatively easy getting into the forward line.
Mick Moldhouse with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle. Cameron into the ruck, up against Wright. One down the tap. Free kick for a hold going the Bombers' way. Darcy Parish to take it. Made a reputation in standing up in big games like this. And dream time at the G. Out to the wing. Marked on the member side by Durham. He works it over the top to Martin. Kicks to Hobbs, who just pulls in the mark with his fingertips. He's 65 metres out from goal. Hard in the left forward flank. He runs his full measure towards 50, almost within striking distance. Puts it towards the teeth of goal. Howe with a punch right to the goal line. He races back and gathers in front of Noble for Collingwood. Hand pass to Madgen. Works it to Josh Dacos. Takes a bounce as he looks for options. Streaming across the defensive goal mouth. Risky kick for side bottom. Centre challenge against Cox. He's up for the challenge. Toe pokes the kick to half back, where Heppel takes the intercepting mark for the Bombers. Collingwood by 6 points.
Heppel kicks it inside the forward 50 and hitting up and marking. It's Jake Stringer on his return. Marks in that channel at half forward, and he'll kick from 40 out. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yeah, just interestingly with Laverde, he went off straight down the room. He's got some treatment on that hamstring groin area. Limped off, didn't look like he was going to come back on, and he's now gone back out there just at the last reset when the goal was kicked. So he's not moving 100% freely, but good news for Bombers fans.
And they'll love having Jake Stringer back as well on his 28th birthday as he moves in. His drop punt sails across the goal face and misses. A couple of players celebrating a birthday today. Jack Madgen turns 29, Jake Stringer turning 28. It's a 5-point lead for Collingwood on the behind to Stringer. So the Pies 2-1, Essendon 1-2, 14 minutes in.
Grandchild due today too, Corbin.
Wow.
Yep. My 10th.
Okay, hopefully the phone doesn't go, Mick. Scott Pendlebury with a long kick in towards half-back. Kruger brought it down to the front. Josh Dacos had an arm pinned. He was able to eventually get the hand pass clear to Adams, who kicks up to half-back, and to go he takes the mark. He wants to roll the dice, kicks along into the middle of the ground. Myercheck in a 2-on-1. Kelly brought it down, then fended off McCreary. His hand pass was just a bit too sharp for Zerk Thatcher, and now McCreary's locked up. Ball spills clear, and the umpire will toss it up.
Superb 3 efforts there from Kelly. Jake Kelly had to make the spoil first, followed up, got a hand in it, and then laid the tackle, and a bit of a wrestle just to go on with as well.
Yeah, he and Jake Kelly are still talking to each other despite the umpire throwing it up. Here's Josh Dacos long towards the goal mouth. Myercheck 1-on-1. Laverde did well. It hits the ground now. They scrap for it. Myercheck, little toe poke. It's going to roll over. The dead touch proved more successful than the snap, and he has his second. Collingwood out by 11 points. 3-1-19 to the Bombers 1-2-8. 15 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Body-wise, very hard to move. And being down in the room, standing next to him, he is just like a block. So I can understand that in a contest where you're standing next to each other, he's going to be able to move you away from the ball. Oh, that was brilliantly done. Probably the thing with Essendon there, to get the numbers back, because in the back line you're hunting packs. You've got to make sure you back your teammate up. Nearest teammate to him was miles away. Just really, Mychek was able to get the football to it, and then the cavalry arrived, but far too late. You've got to back your teammates up. Sprint to them.
We're 16 minutes in. There's only been 11 tackles. There's been 30 marks in the game so far. Collingwood by 11 points. Grundy grabs it out of the ruck, bounces a kick forward, which is smothered on the way through. Guelphy had a couple of goes. In the end, it's Adams who extracts it. Hand pass to centre half forward. McCreary soccers inside 50. Mychek chasing after it. Laverty in the end inadvertently soccers it out of play. So a throw in front of the Collingwood race. And the Magpies 3-1-19. Essendon 1-2-8. An 11-point lead for the Pies. Brodie Mychek kicking the last 2 in the game.
Toss back into play. Grundy in front against Wright, palms it down. Kruger was trying to charge through, but it's Andy McGrath for the Bombers who comes up with it. Hand pass to Ridley, kick short to Shields, who marks it left half back for the Dons. Collingwood by 11 points, chips it back inboard. Redmond takes the mark. He's still on the defensive 50.
He'll just wait for Peter Wright to get set down the line, unless he can find he does Dylan Shield with a short target, but they're setting up for the long one with Wright.
Shield in his 49th game for the Bombers. Eventually they go short to Caldwell. So happy to just control the tempo with short passing here to Merritt, who goes all the way back to centre half back. Kelly takes the mark.
This invites, going backwards there, invites Collingwood to squeeze on them though.
Everyone's pushing to the southern side of the ground. That's where Kelly goes. Martin's the target. Ginnivan up, punches it into the signage on the southern side, under the Shane Warne sand. It was an easy spoil in the end for the Collingwood small forward.
Lingy, that was the 5th possession to get it from one back flank to the other back flank.
And went backwards with it.
Backwards,
and they squeezed it. They had it set with a good play down the line. Good tall target.
Pies by 11, 17 minutes in. Grundy wins it down. Hoskin Elliott's kick smothered. Ricochets out wide to Maynard. Kicks long inside 50. Cameron caught at the back, and Zerk Thatcher knocks it out of play. So a throw in forward pocket for the Pies. Nick's touched on the tackle count. So Essendon so far just the 5 tackles. They laid 86 tackles on this day last year. And in 12 months they've gone from the best tackling team in the AFL, averaging 67 a game, to the worst, averaging just 41. From the boundary throw-in, the Bombers win it at the stoppage. The Parrish hand pass out wide to Redmond. He kicks from the back pocket down the southern wing. In from the side, Stringer knocks it down, but down to Maynard. His hand pass back into dispute. Pack forms on the southern wing. Umpire circles and says ball up.
It's a funny thing about tackling. Once you know how to tackle, whichever play, you either want to or you don't want to. There's no, it's a desire tackle. It's got nothing to do with technique.
Baldwin having a run in the ruck for the Bombers, but it's Collingwood through. Hoskin Elliott emerges, kicks inside the 50. Kruger tried to slap it on into the left forward pocket, but it rolls out of play for a boundary throw-in.
I spoke to an AFL official before the game, and they told me that they were expecting around 83,000. If you can find me 17,000 seats in this stadium right now, I'll go, hey, this is a hell of a roll-up.
It's a bit like the weatherman, isn't it? 21, it's 24.
Yep. Collingwood deep in attack. Zerk Thatcher got it from the throw-in. Got the hand pass away to Heppel, to Redmond, who bounces end over end. It's coming back. He was over the boundary line.
Last year's game, they had 78,113, which is the best crowd since the pandemic started. I think it's fair to say we're going past that today.
Biggest crowd on notice, 93,000 back in 2013. Does feel like it's going to be around that 90,000. Collingwood still in attack. Throw in. Baldwin doing the ruck work against Cameron. Cameron trying to take it out of the ruck. Couldn't get a hand pass away. Lost the footy. Ginnivan down low. Was looking for a tackle over the shoulder. Umpire didn't pay it. Crisp tries to get the hand pass out to Nick Dacos, who's bumped off it. Zerk Thatcher to Martin for the Bombers under enormous pressure. Heppel with good composure. Found Martin. Now the clearing kick to set half back. Collingwood with a 2-on-1. Quaynor trying to bring it down to Sidebottom. Guelphy came racing in, but the tackle when he wasn't in possession. Sidebottom takes it back.
Gets up, takes the kick quickly, looks for Mychek in the pocket. Laverty gets rid of him legally and takes the mark. Laverty looked to have hurt his hamstring earlier. He's come back on and got the tough assignment on Mychek, who's got flames coming off him early with a couple of early goals. A long kick for Laverty to the outer wing. Grundy knocks it back to half forward. Nick Dacos had a hand pass, put it back into traffic, and now Guelphy's locked up.
Laverty's definitely got something going on, because even when he kicked that long there, he took the little skip and hop and hobble for 3 or 4 steps, and now back onto Mychek.
Grundy down to Sidebottom. A free kick coming And it's a Essendon free kick. It's going to go the way of Zach Merritt.
I wonder if it's more groin, Lingy. When you can't quite stretch out. Because the hamstring, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah. Last year's best and fairness winner, Zach Merritt, works it short once more. This seems to be the option. And now Laverty to try and find an option on the members' wing. Kicks towards Heppel. It's over his head, out on the full. So a few skill errors now proving costly for the Bombers. Collingwood by 11 points.
It's not a healthy gait at the moment for Jaden Laverty. Just trying to skip his way across the playing arena, but he's staying out there as Crisp takes the free, heads down to Myercheck. No mark, Laverty spoils from the back. Nick Dacos, hand pass a turnover in traffic to Merritt, away to Ridley, gives it to Parrish, kicks hurriedly down the northern wing. Peter Wright goes up, knocks it down, but straight to Quaynor. Hand pass to Howe and now to Josh Dacos, and the sweeping hand pass all the way back to Maynard, who can kick to Darcy Moore, the only player in the back half for Collingwood.
Bounding through the middle of the ground, kicks long. Intended target is Kruger. McInnes is there as well. Running onto it, Andy McGrath in the back pocket for the Bombers. Hand pass to Parrish. Works it to Merritt. He has it at left half back. Feeds the hand pass back to McGrath. Over the top now. Puts Martin under pressure, but he's up to it. Quick hand pass to Wright. Knocks it down to Hobbs. He hurries the kick down the wing, but it'll be coming back.
That's the trouble with that.
Moore marks on his chest.
Overuse of handball, Clinchy. It's just going to always be bombed back under pressure.
Collingwood by 11, more into the centre square for De Goey, who marks and then kicks out the half forward. Hoskin Elliott takes the mark, 70 from home. Noble's moving for him. He ignores that option initially. Now kicks into the forward pocket. Kruger caught at the back, and Zerk Thatcher spoils it out of play, so a throw in, 35 out from the Collingwood goal. We've gone almost 8 minutes without a score. It's Collingwood 3-1-19, Essendon 1-2-8 after 22 minutes.
Side 50s, it just seems like Collingwood have controlled it, but it's 11-8. Perhaps it's gone in and stayed in there for so long.
Grundy tried to flick it over the back, but straight to Martin. The hand pass to Merritt for the Bombers, and now out to Parrish. Long kick to the wing, right in a 3-on-1. Darcy Moore flying over the back, spoils it out of play. And a boundary throw in under the Shane Orn stand. Not too many spare seats on the southern side of the ground, so you can imagine the crowd is close to 90,000. Maybe a few more. Collingwood leading by 11 points. Toss back in. Draper sets himself in front. Grundy tries to tangle from behind. Knocks it down to Lipinski. He's tackled by a couple of Bombers, including Andy McGrath. And a stoppage once more.
Craig McRae on the bench. Mickey, wouldn't have got that from you. Playing around. Craig McRae on the bench rather than in the box.
Well, it was, 5 to go? Yeah. Probably just to set up.
Quick kick down the wing from the Bombers has been chopped off, though. Noble. Half back for Collingwood, gives it to Madgen, kicks in the centre square for Maynard, hand pass away to De Goey, kicks to centre half forward, and Adams takes the mark for the Magpies. He's got a player moving for him, and it takes a kind bounce towards McInnes, and the first-year Pie just shoots goalward but misses. Out to the right, and he was in plenty of space, Reef McInnes, but just misses, near side. 12-point lead for Collingwood, 24 travelled opening term.
Essendon just don't look like scoring, do they? Because their method is so slow and cumbersome, whereas last year it was speed and speed. That's why they got their goal in the first place. And that first goal they got was speed.
Readily into Martin, kicks out wide, and Peter Wright takes the mark at left half back. So do you reckon that's a confidence thing?
No, it's got to be the players themselves determine how quick you've got to play if your coach is wanting you to move the ball quick.
Wright got it to half forward. Perkins emerges with it for the Bombers. Hand pass to Shields, to Waterman, back to Shields, to Stringer in the left forward pocket. Snaps across his body, and the birthday boy's on the board. An important goal for the Bombers, heading towards quarter time to cut the margin back to 6 points Collingwood's way. 3-2-20 to the Bombers, 2-2-14. Jake Stringer, the X Factor, able to capitalise in the left forward pocket.
And right on cue, Mick, exactly what you're talking about. A terrific mark by Peter Wright down the line, and then he went quickly and dangerously.
Yeah.
He didn't just kick the defensive kick close to the boundary line. He chose the longer option to the probably corner of the centre square.
Yep.
And from there, they were able to go bang and straight through. So once they got through that last line of the Collingwood defence, there was speed and there was genuine chaos, and the Collingwood defenders just got caught where they couldn't cover anyone.
Exactly.
And it's exactly what you've been calling for. If Essendon are going to score and are going to be a chance, they have to play like that.
Because you mentioned about Moore and
Jeremy Howe.
They eat that stuff up, the slow ball.
It's the first score in 10 minutes. Either way, a 6-point lead for Collingwood as Draper wins it down to Parrish. He kicks to half forward for the Bombers. Hobbs clever, tries to tap it onto Waterman's advantage. It goes past him. Hobbs gets a second go at it ground level, but Collingwood with the numbers win out. And Pendlebury links up with Sidebottom, as we've seen so many times over the years. Chips down the wing to DeGoey. Defensive side of the logo, southern wing, kicks to half forward. Mark taken by Cameron, has the ball knocked out of his hands. Umpire says it's okay. And Darcy Cameron can head inside 50 between wing and half forward for the Magpies. Crowded forward 50 at the city end. Kicks straight to Draper. Takes the intercept mark, 15 out from his defensive goal line.
Could have gone to 4 players there. That was really bad kicking.
Feeds the hand pass around the back to Merritt, short to Ridley, and then over the top the kick to Redmond. So the Bombers holding possession at half back, up towards Baldwin. In front, Darcy Moore brought it down to the front, but Durham's there. Now a chance. Where's Perkins going to go? Looks one way, then the other. Decides to retreat back by foot.
He saw Jeremy Howe in his vision.
Shield has it for the Bombers. Drives a long kick towards Baldwin. It's over his head. Right the intended target. Almost pulled in the mark against Jeremy Howe. Quaynor tackle. Great aggression from Durham. Locks the footy up for the Bombers at left half forward.
And that was the difference. So if Perkins had gone in straight away, Jeremy Howe marks it uncontested. Instead, just retreated one kick, and that allowed Peter Wright time to get there and compete against Howe. That was clever play.
Draper down to McGrath, to Durham. Hand pass out wide for Parrish. Floats a handball straight in the path to Pendlebury. Collingwood back with it. Lipinski hands it away to Crisp. Short kick to DeGoey at half back for Collingwood. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yellow Verdi off again, talking to the doctors about that left leg. Also coming and warming up in front of him is Nick Hines. So looking for speed in the back line. He'd be one to inject.
Kick from DeGoey goes beyond the wing. Cox had it, hands it straight back. Lipinski tackled, dispossessed. The opposite number 1, McGrath wins it to Merritt by hand away to Ridley to Parrish. Oh, extra hand pass wasn't needed. Merritt has to go back in, try and mop it up for Essendon. Hand pass to Parrish. He's under the pump. Tackled by Maynard. Umpire says ball up. Just forward of halfway for Collingwood.
It's the Ridley handball though, isn't it, Corbs, there to Parrish. Flat-footed, back to the play. Ridley has to choose to kick that one there.
Tossed up, Grundy went early, but Draper won down the tap. Parrish gets the hand pass out to Merritt, back to McGrath, on half back for the Bombers, drives a kick towards Peter Wright, sets himself up with one arm over the back at Darcy Moore, running onto it, Quaynor for Collingwood, underground hand pass to Pendlebury, feeds it back towards Moore, couldn't take it, bounced into Hobbs, tries to keep the footy in front of him, tackled by Cox, who locks the footy up, in fact in the back, so Collingwood will take it.
I think Nick Cox would like to have a look at that play again. Again, and may make a different decision next time.
I think that would be a learning experience for him, wouldn't it, Mick?
Well, he hasn't learned. He did it last week as well.
Darcy Moore long towards Cameron as the siren sounds for quarter time. Zerk Thatcher spoils it across the boundary line. So Collingwood leading by 6 points at quarter time. 3-2-20 to the Bombers, 2-2-14. For Collingwood, 2 goals to Brodie Myercheck and Jack Ginnivan, the other goal scorer. For the Bombers, their goals have come through Stringer and Waterman.
Pies have led in 5 of their 6 games so far this year. They've gone on to win just 2 of them previously. Really good roll-up at the MCG. We think a crowd in and around 90,000 in the house for Anzac Day, the 27th edition of the traditional clash between Essendon and Collingwood. Pies by 6 points in the earlier fixture. Sydney came from behind in the final quarter to then beat Hawthorn by 41. So a strong finish by the Swans. Some concern for Paddy McCartan, who was subbed out of the game with concussion. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Sport now has its very own newsletter, and we'd be pumped to have you on board.
Woohoo! The ABC of Sport will provide a wrap of all the best stuff that's happening in sport every week.
Simply go to abc.net.au/connect
and get ready for a sport hit in your inbox every Friday.
Get on board with the ABC of Sport newsletter
for content that makes you think
or allows you not to.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
For the 27th time, footy's tribute to the troops. It's Essendon and Collingwood on Grandstand AFL. The Grundy down to Adams. Hand pass picked off, but not before he was pushed in the back. Free kick for Taylor Adams. Short kick's a good one, and Jack Ginnivan skids in to take the sprawling mark to hook the kick across his body. He snaps. He goes. The kid built for the big stage kicks the first on Anzac Day. Kelly's locked up. He's in trouble, Jake Kelly. He's in a lot of strife. Holding the ball, says the umpire. And a free kick for the Magpies, and Myercheck straight in front. First one was a shocker. This a drop punt from straight in front. No problem. Returns Collingwood to the lead.
Josh Dacos long towards the goal mouth. Myercheck one-on-one. Laverty did well. It hits the ground now. They scrap for it. Myercheck, little toe poke. It's going to roll over. White got it to half forward. Perkins emerges with it for the Bombers. Hand pass to Shields, to Waterman, back to Shields, to Stringer in the left forward pocket. Snaps across his body, and the birthday boy's on the board.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Anzac Day at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's Collingwood by 6 points. At quarter time, they lead at 3-2 over the Bombers. Earlier, York Park in Launceston, Sydney by 41 over Hawthorn. A 73-point turnaround in that game, which the Swans kicked 9-2-1 straight in the final quarter. That's a hell of a swing. Swans get out of there with the 4 points. Pies by 6 here. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling.
Yeah, we're just talking about it, Lingy. The Bombers have had 107 possessions to Collingwood 91. Inside 50s, not a great deal of difference, 13-9, but it's still 40% more. And without, the game's it's only a goal difference, but I'm intrigued by. I reckon the coach would have been saying we're going to be tougher. Yeah, well, I think they've been a little bit tougher. We've got to move the ball quickly. That doesn't necessarily mean that you over hand pass the football, because I'm still intrigued about today's football. I look at this ground; it hasn't changed since when they started playing football here 100 years ago. So it's still about 160 odd metres long. And there's still only 36 players out there, and there's space to run the ball. By hand pass, you only need some desperate opponents, and they'll put the ball to the ground. Whereas if you can shape one out and take 5 metres, if a player runs 5 metres, there's got to be decisions made by the opposition. Do I go at him? Do I run with him? Or do I cover So straight away, when the opposition got 2 or more thought processes to create, you've already got confusion. But when you give a hand pass, it's just a matter of knocking over the next bloke.
And to me, that's Essendon, and the reason why you're saying it, just stats to back up exactly what you're saying. So Essendon have had 49 kicks, 58 handballs, so more handballs than kicks comfortably. Yeah. That's, to me, a group that doesn't have a lot of confidence. But the coach has told them, play on, just give first option, play on as much as you can. But at the moment it is, here, you have it, and you have it, and you have it, and just give. But going absolutely nowhere with it, as opposed to a team who's really on top of its game. They can use 2, 3, 4 quick handballs, but they're going forward and they're going down, and it's purely to get somebody out released who can go bang with a kick. At the moment at Essendon, it's just, here, let's ring-a-rosie, handball it to each other and going nowhere. Collingwood, I would assume Craig McRae will be saying, bring the heat onto the ball carrier, but let's not run 3-1. Let's have one and
hunt one.
Yeah, trust that our teammate will lay the tackle. The other two pick off their receivers because they're going to give that handball. Will create a turnover and be able to go back through them a million miles an hour.
And yet, you have a look at the 2 goals that were scored. They were direct. They got a player out in front. They ran the football into a position to kick the football and mark the football. Stringer, we saw that one, and the first goal was kicked by Waterman. Quick movement, but it was direct, quick movement. It wasn't, and it come from hand passes. So they say, "Oh, what are you saying?" No, it come from efficient hand passing, not overuse of hand passing and giving Collingwood another look. And the Pies on the other side, they capitalise on that. They're very good at turning that ball over.
And can I highlight Darcy Parish, 16 disposals. He's had 5 kicks, 11 handballs. So he's been guilty of that a little bit. But terrific in getting his hands on the footy. It's been great around the contest, but not going anywhere with it. 16 touches in the first quarter is still a fair effort.
He's averaging 32 for the year. He's on track for over 60. It's Collingwood by 6 points. Second quarter coming up on Grandstand AFL. The shadows just lengthening a little across the Melbourne cricket ground, and umpire Hayden Gavine a crooked bounce. It's actually the same 3 umpires we had last Monday, on Easter Monday. Hayden Gavine, Brett Rosebery and Nathan Williamson. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Just an update on Levert. He has re-emerged from the rooms after quarter time. He's got that leg heavily strapped, so still not activated the sub.
Grundy wins the tap, down to De Goey, gets the centre break, but out to half forward. Heppel knocks it towards the wing. Josh Dacos collects, gives it to Ginnivan. As he's been pushed, he kicks down to half forward. Draper flies and reels in the juggled mark. Half back for Essendon.
Love that from Draper. Young backline, under the pump backline at times in that first quarter. You love your ruckman doing that.
Feeds the hand pass around the back to Merritt, to Ridley inside the defensive 50. Kicks up to Waterman at half back. Kept running. McGrath and got the footy back. Howe, big fly onto the shoulders of Guelphy. How often can Jeremy Howe do that? Not one of his top 5, probably not even top 10. But it's no surprise when you see him fly in the air like that. Into the middle of the ground. Finds to go. Long kick. Meyer checked the threat. Couldn't mark on his chest in the end. Waterman gets the hand pass. Back to Zirk Thatcher. Ridley under enormous pressure. Kicks it high towards half back. Good challenge for Durham. In the end, Josh Dacos brought it down, but the Bombers emerged through it. Parrish to Durham. Set Shield a challenge. Tackle, but got the hand pass forward. Perkins. Tackle lingered from Chris, but Collingwood come back up with it. Quaynor works it to Josh Dacos, to Pendlebury, who can kick towards Ginnivan in the left forward pocket. He got a cruel bounce in the end as it skidded off the turf and out of play. 45 metres out from the Collingwood goal. The punt road end, it's the Magpies by 6 points.
I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel here by saying Josh Dacos has got footy smarts. But even just that little handball there, he was going to go the long one, saw it, that it was covered, just checked his handball. Beautiful, floated to a teammate's advantage. So clever.
Grundy wins the hit out down to Nick Martin, who's got 3 pies for company immediately. And a ball up half forward for Collingwood. Pies to the punt road end of the second term. They lead it by 6 points. Early stages of the second. Grundy, but straight down to Heppel, to Parrish. Possession 17. Hand pass to Shearley. Gives it to Durham, who hooks his kick down the wing. And nice mark, Peter Wright, up in front of Darcy Moore, but a long way from home.
He hasn't been outmarked too many times in his career, Darcy Moore, but Peter Wright's the player that can do it.
Wright heads down to half forward. A couple of one-on-ones there. Leaping up was Baldwin. Can't take the mark. Falls down in front of Maynard. Clever. Just taps it across the turf to Pendlebury's advantage, and Collingwood get possession back. Gives it to Noble, who kicks for De Goey at centre half back.
Thought about the hand pass to Crisp. Now gives the hand pass to Noble with more space and time. Almost came to a complete stop as he ran into Martin. His kick sets Hoskin-Elliott a challenge. Redmond in front, almost juggled it. Umpire waves play on. Crisp slides in, trying to knock it onto side bottom. Good tackle by Cox as the ball comes clear. Collingwood have the numbers. Hoskin-Elliott 1-2 with side bottom. Back to Hoskin-Elliott at right half forward. He runs his full measure. Looks inside 50. Kruger and Meyer are there. Zirk Thatcher dropped the mark. There's chance still for the Bombers at Risley. Gets the hand pass away. Heppel with a clearing kick up to Redmond. He marks it left half back for the Bombers. Collingwood by 6.
On the 45 immediately. Kicks to Martin. Back edge to the centre square, takes the mark and continues the shift out to the northern side. A long kick to Guelphy, who marks on the attacking edge of the centre square. Gee, there's a few options inside 50. Eventually kicks it deep. Perkins takes it on his chest.
Is that descent?
Gee, Noble thought there was a fingertip on it on the way through. Side bottom was appealing, and in the end the umpire says it's okay for Perkins to shoot from 40 out straight in front.
And you know what? You've got there Brett Rosebery, an outstanding umpire.
Best umpire in the comp. Yep. Best umpire the last 10 years, Lingy.
And he saw Noble just put the arm up a bit to say, I touched it. Understood that could be a little bit of a frustration. That's all fine. Terrific interaction between player and umpire.
Fantastic, yep. Common sense. I think one of the Collingwood boys is in a bit of trouble.
It's been well handled across the weekend, the descent rule. Here's Archie Perkins, the 20-year-old, in his second Anzac Day game. He pops it through. We're all knotted up again. 4-minute mark of the second term, 3-2-20 apiece. Archie Perkins kicks the first goal of the second quarter on Grandstand AFL. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Not good news for Kruger, who's come straight off and straight down the race, nursing that left shoulder. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, he hurt that left shoulder against Adelaide here at the MCG. So hopefully it's not a reoccurrence of that injury, but he looked pretty dejected as he went down to the rooms.
Yeah, those shoulders, once you do it once, and you can get taped up and get all the strength, once the arm extends, no longer do the muscles hold, it's just your ligaments, and if they've already been torn, you're in real trouble. So, funny enough, you can get it put back in, come out and play again.
Yeah.
depends how if it's come out, how quick it goes back in, and how much pain you're prepared to take.
Nick Malthouse with you on ABC Sport. Archie Perkins up with 7 goals for the season so far. Back in the middle, Draper and Grundy. Draper wins down the tap to Stringer, who should get the clearance of the Bombers. Kicks out to the southern wing. Guelphy at full tilt takes the mark, with Noble right there with him. Has it between wing and half forward for the Bombers.
What's the initiative in the stoppages, the Pies?
Guelphy long, it won't get to Baldwin or to right. Didn't have enough height on it, and Jeremy Howell takes the intercepting mark. Moves it quickly to Noble, shovels out a hand pass to Sidebottom, who runs the southern wing, takes a bounce and then pokes the kick forward, and Hoskin Elliott takes the mark.
Scores level. Early stages of the second term. Hoskin Elliott inboard finds Noble, who marks on the logo of the southern wing. He was the Netty sub last week, came on for Cameron. He's now played 41 consecutive games for the Magpies. John Noble, who kicks out wide, and mark taken by Hoskin Elliott again, the man who delivered it to him. Short pass to Adams, and the last bit of sunshine remaining on the southern side. Marks plays on, closes to 49 out, kicks to the top of the goal square. Kelly turned inside out, tries to attack the 40. Ginnivan picks it up, he's taken high. Free kick Collingwood in the right forward pocket, and Jack Ginnivan will get it on a sharp angle with the man on the mark right in front of the behind post.
Yeah, free kicks there. It went over the shoulder. Complain all you like as fans, but still got to tackle legally.
Yeah, we don't expect
swinging arm over the shoulder.
Yeah, it's clearly a free kick.
The teenager kicked the first of the game. He's snapping again across the body. This time off his left shoe. He's got Collingwood's first of the second quarter as well. He turns to the Essendon supporters and says, how about some of that? 4-2-26 Collingwood. Essendon 3-2-20. 7 minutes into the second term. Pies by 6.
They just showed the replay corps. He did say that to the Essendon fans, and the Essendon fans decided to return a one-finger salute back in his direction.
Yeah.
Multiple Essendon fans.
One for the first quarter, one for the second.
He's one of those young blokes, really, I just say, get the respect of the football world first, and then we start to celebrate.
Oh, different generation, Mick. Different generation.
I know. It's a soccer one, and you can imagine what's coming back at him here. Oh,
they watch the number 1 draft picks in the NBA just come in straight away and
give him the GoPro every week. He's never short of the action. Collingwood back in front by 6 points. Bounce favours Draper. It's going to be recalled as it just slightly swayed out to the left. Floodlights on here at the MCG, but the natural light's still doing the majority of the work. Draper and Grundy once more. Comes down the way of Parrish. He can't get clear. Hand pass from Caldwell gets forward to Draper. Feeds the hand pass wide to Martin. Just short of centre half forward. Kicks to right on the lead. Can't take the mark. Darcy Moore right there with him. Ball spills out to Merritt. Can't get a little toe poke onto it. But I think he was taken high, and the Bombers will take it out left half forward.
I think that was a good contest with Moore and Wright. I don't know if there's a free kick there. Pretty hard to stop a player on the lead and spoil at the same time.
Kicks inside the 50. Jeremy Howe sets himself, waiting in front of Draper. Takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. 30 metres out from his defensive goal.
Kicks to Jack Crisp, who's off and running through centre half back. Takes a bounce. He's now up the halfway. Hand pass over to Lipinski. He'll get it back on the 1-2. He's now past the centre square. He's inside 50. Jack Crisp. He kicks goalward. He's kicked it. What a magnificent goal on Anzac Day. Jack Crisp from centre half back finishes on the run inside 50. Superb. Collingwood 5-2-32. Essendon 3-2-20. 9 minutes into the second term. A magnificent running goal for Jack Crisp. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yeah, looks like Kruger's done for the day. Brown has got his top off already down here. He'll be part of the next rotation.
Outstanding goal, wasn't it, Nick?
It's running the ball.
Running power. I've got an idea for Essendon. Try not to kick the ball directly down Jeremy Howe's throat too many more times.
I know.
He's intercept mark, but then just the willingness to go.
Yeah.
And Crisp took off, and just superb play.
But he's a runner from way back. He loves to run the football. It'd be so foreign to him to stop, prop, and And that could have happened. He got the kick. He could have easily stopped, have a look around. What do I do now? No, he took the mark and just went for it. And Essendon players fell off him.
Collingwood back out by 12 points. They got out by this margin in the opening term. Merritt with the clearance. Hand pass to Shield. Here go the Bombers away again. Kick over the head of Peter Wright. Trying to run on Baldwin. Free kick. Going Wright's way this time.
I think it's downfield. I just have a feeling that it was a push on to go here against...
Yeah, I think it's spot on Shield.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah. If he did it at the same time he kicked it, it's a free kick backward. He must have pushed him after he kicked the football.
So Kane Baldwin's the man who's going to get the shot on goal. The second-year bomber from Glenelg, looking for his first goal. What a big time to arrive. He comes in and shakes it out to the left. Just squeezes it in for a minor score in the end.
Made a mess of his run-up, didn't he?
Yeah. Collingwood by 11 points at the 10-minute mark of the second term.
Baldwin, one of 5 teenagers on the ground, 3 for Collingwood, 2 for Essendon. Ben Hobbs at 18, the youngest of them, has more from the kick out, sends it to the southern wing. Darcy Cameron caught at the back, just paddles it away though to the advantage of DeGoey, takes on Hobbs but turns it over. Waterman receives a hand pass, gives it to Merritt, kicks inside 50, lands short of Pendlebury. He's crunched by Perkins. Umpire says free kick, drilled into the ground in the tackle. It's in the back. It's going Pendlebury's way. Centre half back for Collingwood, hits up Crisp. Hand pass away to Noble, sends his kick down to half forward for Myercheck. Ginnivan tries to knock it on. Kelly fighting on, outnumbered. Big bump from Draper as he just runs straight through Lipinski. Heppel mops it up and they get it off half back through Caldwell.
Kicks up towards right, couldn't take the mark. Crisp there for Collingwood. Hand pass to Madgen. To Pendlebury, who has more time normally than most. Kicks towards half forward. Draper trying to come in from the side. Little shove from Ginnivan. Umpire says that was all okay. Throw it in.
The Pendlebury one.
I think you hit him right in the back.
Jeez. Lingy?
I thought it was pushing the back as well, Corbs.
By 11 points. Grundy tangles up with Draper, clears them, gets to the back. Martin shovels out a hand pass to the wing, looking for Caldwell, runs onto it, bumped into Madgen. Hand pass just wide of right, and he can't pick up the loose footy. Couple of goes at it. Now Madgen over the footy on the members' wing. Not making that much of an attempt to knock it clear, and now Pendlebury gets it away to Josh Dacos. Pulls his kick towards the left half forward. It's too wide for Myercheck, and it's tapped over the line by Kelly for a boundary throw in, 60 metres out from the Collingwood goal. It's the Magpies by 11 points.
I've got to say, watching Essendon last week compared to this week, their intensity has lifted probably 50%, so it's a good thing for today's crowd.
Kruger out of the game with a bung shoulder. Callum Brown waiting to come on for the boundary throw in. Grundy wins it down to Adams at half forward, kicks inside 50. They come from all directions, spills down to Durham, and he's racing away for Essendon. Kicks into the middle of the ground for Hobbs, takes the mark, hand pass to Redmond, kicks into space on the northern wing, and Shield will be able to trap the footy eventually. Collects, trying to get around Dacos, sends a hand pass back to Hobbs. He links up with Parrish, shoots a hand pass to Merritt, back to Hobbs, under pressure, sold him straight into the Lipinski tackle. And Lipinski takes him to ground, a ball up, 52 out from the Essendon goal.
Unfortunately, it was that one kick from Redmond that just missed its target, slowed everything down. The Collingwood defenders scrambled and reset themselves.
Collingwood with 2 goals in this second quarter to the Bombers 1-1. Hoskin Elliott trying to break from the stoppage, couldn't get a disposal away. Adams with a throw, looking for Noble. The umpire was right there and spotted it.
Peter Wright here, he's got free inside 50 in a matchup he'd love on Madgen.
Parrish just a bit slow now, he goes to him and Wright takes the mark. In the right forward pocket, and right onto it, Ling, a couple of metres on Madgen. He would have had the height regardless, and eventually Darcy Parrish spotted him.
I still can't work out, when you've got slower plays, why you still can't readjust everything. I just can't work out why Darcy Moore wasn't already there. So it wasn't that quick, the play.
No.
So Peter Wright shooting from the right forward pocket. He'll kick from about 40 metres out. Comes in, deliberate approach, starts it out to the left. It won't quite have the journey, and in the end, Brodie Grundy takes the mark up against the left behind post. No change to the score. Collingwood by 11 points.
Strange angle to come in and run like that. It was always going to head right, head left.
Grundy goes long to half back. Cameron the target, can't take the mark, spills down to Durham, half forward for the Bombers. Hand pass to Perkins, away to McGrath. McGrath shakes one would-be tackler, kicks it straight into oncoming traffic. Ricochets to Degoe, and look at them all lined up for the Pies off half-back. Nick Dacos is off and running. 2 bounces through the centre of the G. Kicks it to Myercheck, but he's caught wrong-footed. And Jake Kelly takes the intercept mark, back flank for Essendon.
Good play, because he kept his eye on the ball, Kelly, whereas Myercheck actually turned his back and lost control.
Out to McGrath, still inside the defensive 50, then up to Perkins. Gathers just inside the boundary line, trying to sidestep side bottom, kicks back inboard to McGrath, who's kept running. Hand pass to Parrish, he looks to fire it out between the wing and half forward, and Hobbs takes the mark. The first-year bomber from Horsham has had Jeremy Howe for company through this opening half. He pulls his kick, it just finds Parrish, who pulls it in with his fingertips, just inside 50. Not sure that was the intended target, but it works nevertheless.
No, I think you're right, Matt. I think it was a little bit deeper, but if you've got players in good position, then that's what you cover.
And I think regardless of whether you mean it or not, the ball is just going to Darcy Parrish at the moment. This is disposal number
22.
23 coming up. And for his first goal, he's had 5 clearances as well. Outstanding start.
The Anzac Day medalist from last year. He'll kick from right on 50. The Bombers need something for all their work. Long to the goal mouth. Big fly from Stringer. Couldn't come down with it. And Collingwood emerged through Noble. Kicks towards half-back. Quaynor takes the mark. Collingwood by 11.
Quaynor short kick to Adams, the vice-captain. He takes the mark. His 5th Anzac Day clash. Lucky enough to speak to him pre-game on ABC Radio. He kicks down the wing to McCreary, who marks and goes long for Collingwood inside 50. Kelly spoils close to the boundary line. Cameron there, and Kelly sees it out with him. A throw in forward pocket for the Magpies. The sun just popping behind the clouds, but a banging day in Melbourne. 24 degrees. The floodlights have come on. The ground completely in shadows at the moment as we just tick past 4:15 local time in the afternoon of Anzac Day.
Grundy doing the ruck work against Baldwin, taps it down, got it to Degoe, feeds the hand pass back to Lipinski, to Hoskin Elliott, 48 metres out from goal, long to the goal mouth, Myercheck's there, Zerk Thatcher spoils it down, a free kick shepherding in the marking contest. It's going to be a Bombers free kick. Jake Kelly to take it, kicks off a step and finds Martin in the back pocket, the former Crow of course, his dad a famous pie. They work it up to half-back and Guelphy takes the mark. Hand pass to Shield.
He moves it up to halfway for Waterman. Waterman decides not to give it to Hobbs. Does a 360, takes on Dacos once, a second time, and then coughs it up. Pendlebury lends a hand. The Dacos lads combined. Josh gives it to Nick. By hand, he goes back to Noble, and Noble kicks across the ground for Lipinski. Looks inside the centre square. Grundy takes the mark for Collingwood. Hand pass over to Quaynor. 52 metres out. He kicks a rocket. Puts it through off a single step from 52 out. Isaac Quaynor with a special on Anzac Day. It's the Pies by 17 points. A new game high at the 18-minute mark of the second term. Collingwood 6-2-38. Essendon 3-3-21. Cameron Lang and Mick Malthouse.
She hit that superbly. Great kick. Just come back to here, Mick, in front of us. Waterman. I don't know what he saw ahead of the ball to make him hesitate.
Twice.
That's where he needed to go forward and just trust his forwards. I didn't see who the forward was for Essendon, but he was one-on-one, inside 50, about 45 out from goal. All he wanted desperately was get it to me and let me do some work against my opponent. But just went backwards and got himself into a world of trouble.
What about, Lingy, if I said to you right now, the Pies have kicked 6 goals and 2 are off half-back flankers in fantastic. One's run out of the back 50, the other one cutting through the centre of the ground. Just beautiful play.
Isaac Quaynor with the second goal of his career. What a time to do so. Parrish with the clearance, trying to get it to Peter Wright. Gives it back to Parrish. He can kick inside 50. Guelphy's got space. He marks 50 metres out, pretty much directly in front.
Peter Wright again, this side of the ground. Darcy Cameron was slow to get to him. They've covered it now.
Guelphy's going to give it off. There's plenty of options. Shield can take the mark just inside 50. He pokes it over the top. And Perkins marks on his chest. So they've had some shots. Baldwin, Wright, Parrish. They need to get something for it.
And go back. That was Peter Wright who created that. So he pushed down hard. Darcy Cameron was so slow to move that 2 Collingwood defenders went with Wright, which just created this vacuum and allowed the 2 or 3 Essendon players to find a world of space inside forward 50.
Yeah, if you pick through players' strengths, that's not one of them for Cameron.
Settled straight into AFL footy last season, playing 20 games. Archie Perkins, can he capitalise on this moment? Directly in front, 30 metres out, steers it straight over the goal. Umpire's hat for his second. An important goal for the Bombers after Collingwood had put on 3 at the other end. Cuts the margin back to 11 points Collingwood's way. 6-2-38 to the Bombers, 4-3-27. 20 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport. You're with Mick Malthouse and Cameron Lee.
He strikes me as a player, Mick, who's going to enjoy playing on Anzac Day many, many times throughout his career. Bit of swagger, confidence in his own ability. The 2 goals already today. He's going to love these bigger games with the bigger crowds.
The big stage, don't you? You just judge your players on the big stage. You want them to perform right through the year, but when there's a big one, so many players freeze. They just don't have their best, whereas others rise to the occasion. It's just terrific to watch young players.
Top 10 pick, Archie Perkins. He told the non-Victorian clubs, don't worry about taking me, I'm staying right here. He goes to Essendon and playing in front of 90,000 on Anzac Day. Draper wins the tap, down to Parrish, hand pass to Shield. He's met straight away. Pendlebury lays the tackle, he's dispossessed. Pendlebury wins it off his knees now. Merritt comes to tackle him. Umpire skirting on the outskirts of the stoppage, lets them go. Draper stands up with the footy, kicks inside 50. Waterman takes the mark. Gee, everybody stopped, and a big 2-metre Sam Draper just plucked the footy, banged it on the boot, and at the drop was a leading Alec Waterman. He'll shoot from 40 out, just left of centre.
Seen a complete reversal in clearances from last week. As I said, I just thought they were pathetic last week at the clearances. They're stitching up Collingwood at the stoppages, and this is another one really. If you follow up the ball through, it'll be called a clearance by Draper.
Alec Waterman, an error earlier which cost the Bombers a goal. To make up for it, the left footer shoots goalward, he misses. Across the face out to the right. 22 travelled second term, Collingwood by 10. It's the Pies 6-2, Essendon a 4-4, and we suspect over 90,000 in the house at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on Anzac Day.
Pendlebury brings Collingwood back into play, short into the back pocket for Noble. To go, he's working up the crowd. He marks still inside the defensive 50. So set shots for Wright, Baldwin, Parrish, Perkins, and they're Waterman, and they've really only got 1-1 for it. Here's Ginnivan running the boundary. Looks to send Collingwood towards half forward. Meyer checked the marking target. Spoiled down by Kelly. A chance still for Brodie trying to knock it clear. Can't clear the congestion. Taylor Adams tries to lay a tackle. The Bombers with the numbers. Parrish emerges. Kicks around his body. Noble underneath it. Waterman flies from behind. Josh Dacos picks it up for Collingwood. Great vision. Hand pass over the top to Noble. His hand pass too slick for Nick Dacos. And it rolls over the boundary line. Josh Dacos giving encouragement despite the skill error there. We spoke with Taylor Adams about his step up in leadership with his brother arriving at the club.
He has stepped up. He really has. He's looked after the younger players around him. It's been terrific watching.
From the boundary throw-in, Draper just grabs it, runs away with it, hand pass into the path of Shield. The ball pitches and runs away from him out of play, so a throw-in on the wing.
Don't worry, Darcy Parrish is getting close to still being on track for that 60 possessions, Corbs, that you said. He's had 27 disposals. We've got 4 minutes to go in the second term.
Is that the exception in a losing side? If you have 60, you still get it?
Here he goes again.
Grundy wins the tap, straight to Parrish. Here's his hand pass. Possession 28 to Redmond. Kicks to centre half forward. Stringer in a 2-on-1. Moore can't take the juggle. Mark Waterman. Great hand pass to Guelphy, who shoots goalward. He had Wright running into the open goal. The ball beats him over the behind line. A minor score for the Dons. Essendon 4-5-29. Collingwood 6-2-38. Pies by 9.
They are very good at the bananas, the modern players, but every now and then you've just got to be able to kick on your opposite foot. That would have been an easier kick on the left than the right foot banana.
Maynard to Howe in the pocket. Got bumped by Peter Wright once he got his kick away. They work it up towards half back. Josh Dacos kicks towards Cameron. Draper in from the side. Spoils it out of play.
I just love the way he goes about it. Yeah. I love the way Grundy goes about it too, but you've got one looks like he's just come from the Lost Dogs home, the other one's a purebred, and they just took a mongrel and a purebred going against each other. Now, I'm not going to say which one's which.
Which one's which?
I'm not saying. I love the mullet.
See the response from Dyson Heppel, the Bombers captain, ruffling the long locks of Sam Draper. Bombers emerge with it on the wing. Hand pass from Parrish. Gets it to Merritt. Bit of a challenge for Guelphy. Another mark for Jeremy Howe. off balance, but was still able to control the mark. So good in the air with another intercept mark. Goes short to Noble, who can chip it into the middle of the MCG, and Darcy Moore has it. Collingwood by 9 points.
Yeah, in his 5th Anzac Day game, turning in a spectacular performance so far. Moore from the back edge of the centre square up the halfway for Quaynor. His 2nd goal, his AFL career earlier in the quarter. Takes on Martin on the mark, drives it deep inside 50. Cameron hands to it. Can't complete the mark, and Heppel comes up with it. Hand pass away to Parrish, who's almost got 30 before half-time.
He does.
He's got 30 now.
Yes.
Gives it to McGrath, who shares it with Perkins. Perkins kicks to Guelphy in front of the interchange. Heads beyond the wing to Caldwell. Essendon streaming forward. Collingwood well set up back.
No, clever play. Had to hold up then. Just wait for his key forwards to get down there to make a contest. Good play.
Caldwell hits up Stringer, who's leading up against the boundary line, right half forward flank. He marks, pressed up against the fence. He'll kick it from just inside the 50.
Darcy Moore looks at them, thinks they're not going to go there, I'm going to fall back. And that's a couple of times been picked off. Now, they haven't kicked goals against him, but it's just interesting the type of player that he needs to play on. It's not someone who's a smart leading player.
This area of the ground always reminds me of Alan Didak, Nick. He's kicked some magnificent goals out here at right half forward. Right peg up against the fence. Jake Stringer trying to curve it through. He misses to the near side or behind.
It's as though Darcy Moore thinks he can outread every player at the moment. It's just getting him into a little bit of trouble. When he plays on the opponent and then comes off at the right time, that's when he's dynamic best.
Collingwood by 8 points. Maynard out of defence finds Darcy Moore. So the Bombers with 2-4 in this 2nd quarter to Collingwood's 3 straight. As Moore looks to switch play inside the defensive 50, finds Quaynor. Kicks a goal in this 2nd quarter. Kicks out to the southern wing where Hoskin Elliott has space.
Essendon working back really hard in numbers to block this up.
Brodie Grundy runs into some space at right half forward for Collingwood. Fires it into the right forward pocket. Not a good kick. McInnes caught too far behind. And Zerk Thatcher takes the mark. All the way back to the defensive goal square to Kelly. Out to the right back pocket by foot to Ridley. And chips the ball to Hobbs. Still inside the defensive 50. 27 minutes gone in this 2nd quarter. Hobbs looks at options down the members' wing. Kicks a long ball in the direction of Stringer. Outnumbered 2-on-1. Maynard in front takes the mark. Stringer might have got him high as well in the marking contest. Maynard was able to take the mark.
Pies by 8 points. Time on 2nd term. Maynard sends his kick in the Darcy Cameron direction. Leaping over the back. Laverty no mark. Myercheck waiting there. Chucks it on the boot. Skids off the side of his left peg and out of play. So we'll throw in 30 around from the Collingwood goal. Pies led by as many as 17 points earlier in the quarter. Their lead cut to 8 on the stroke of half-time. Draper and Grundy, as it has been for most of the day. Draper palms it down. Here's Parrish. He's got 30 already before half-time. He's tackled. And the ball up centre half forward for the Magpies.
And it's where they've got them, the Bombers, this quarter. 10-3 of the clearances. Essendon's way. They just haven't quite capitalised on their terrific work around the stoppages.
Is there time for one last ditch for Collingwood to go? He tries to get the hand pass out to Crisp, who kicks right on the siren. For half-time, it was out to the right anyway. So a quarter in which the Bombers had their opportunities but couldn't quite take them. 2-5 to Collingwood's 3 straight. And the Magpies having led by 6 points at quarter-time, lead by 8 at half-time. 6-2-38 to the Bombers, 4-6-30. The margin did get out by as much as 17 points in the 2nd quarter before Archie Perkins was able to strike back for the Bombers. 2 goals to Myercheck, to Ginnivan, and individuals to Crisp and to Quaynor for Collingwood. Meanwhile for the Bombers, 2 to Archie Perkins, individuals to Stringer and to Waterman.
Pies by 8 points at half-time earlier today. York Park in Launceston. It was a 73-point turnaround as Sydney kicked 9 goals to 1 in the last quarter to beat Hawthorn by 41 points. So the Swans getting out of there with the victory. Paddy McCartan, some concerns. He was subbed out of the game with suspected concussion. So a 41-point win for the Swans, but it does come at some cost. Collingwood by 8 points here on Anzac Day at the MCG. They lead at 6 goals to 4. Cameron Ling, Mick Bolthouse.
Well, to Essendon's credit there, Mick, they did fix it up around the ball. Their contest work, their clearance work was excellent in that second quarter. And I mean, Darcy Parish has just had a ridiculous amount of the footy for half a game, the 30 disposals. At times they've overused it from those clearance wins, but they're starting to get some good looks. They're not finishing their work. Their set shot goal kicking wasn't quite on in that second quarter, but at least we saw them shift the way that this game was going, because for a brief period there it looked like Collingwood were just going to be far too efficient, and when they were moving the ball quick, was scoring quite easily.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just getting back to Parish, he's 20 and 10. That's not 20 kicks, that's 20 hand passes and 10. I like to value, when it's a close game like this, I like to value inside 50s for your midfielders.
Yep.
What do you do with the football? Now, with 20 hand passes, you'd like to think you're setting someone up, and quite often he did. Quite often he did, so it was more often than he didn't. But he's only had the ball inside front 50 once. And I looked through the numbers, and Merritt 2, there's another midfielder. McGrath none, and he's another midfielder. Shield 3, he butchered one in the first quarter. The other two weren't too bad, so not a lot. Inside 50s, to go 4. I'm just looking at the others. There's not a...
Jack Crisp 2 plus his beautiful plus running goal.
Great goal. But really, 31 to 24... that's 26 to 21 overall. That's moderate as far as inside 50s, but there's no dominance. You generally find a midfielder will have, by this stage, say 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8, and having a good day. When you've handled the ball 30 times... He's handled it more time than the umpires. I mean, collectively, all those umpires that are balled in and thrown up, he could say to him, my hands are worn out more than you. What you'd like him to do is just, you don't have to pull that right back, but pull back half of that and run the ball, because what they do now, it's an old pattern. You see someone, you see someone, you see something, so you adjust your game to them. Okay, we know he's going to hand pass, so we'll go at him. But if he takes 5 steps, he might find himself in a position where all of a sudden, I've just dropped that bloke off. Now I can actually kick the football. If he goes, even if he only handles the ball 20 times next half, but goes 15-5, he's going to be probably a more effective player, because at the moment, Shield's still not getting a lot of it, and he's not that damaging with the ball. McGrath, I think, has been okay. But for Essendon to get back, they need to maximise the dominance of the stoppages at the moment. They're winning the contested football, they're winning the clearances, they're winning the possession rate, but they're not penetrating enough.
And Collingwood, they've been outstanding with their ball movement when they've looked good.
Fantastic.
And you think of the Jack Crisp goal being the absolute highlight of exactly that. They do need to adjust a little bit around the stoppages, though, because they can't keep giving Essendon first use of the footy. It goes inside Essendon's attacking 50 and then think we're going to transfer it the entire length of the ground. If they can just break even in clearances in the second half and launch some of their attacks from a midfield part of the ground, combined with the fact they can launch off half-back, they're going to give themselves the best chance. So as much as Parish is overusing it a little bit, I still think now you have somebody with a balance around the stoppage on Parish. He's had 6 clearances. Just cut out 2 or 3 of those in the second half. I'm not calling for a tag yet on Parish or anything like that. I don't think he's damaging enough right now. But a balance at the stoppage so that they don't end up with a 10-3 Essendon's way clearance win in this third quarter.
That's right.
Get that balance better around there, and then back that your ball movement is in fact better than Essendon's from half back.
Yeah, if you look at Degoe, for instance, he's gone 300 metres. Parish has gone 167, so about half. Now, I know that the critics out there, and rightfully so, will say, well, if Parish has laid off a hand pass to one of the halfback running players, you've got to take that in consideration. And indeed, you do have to take that in consideration, because it's the product more so than the numbers. So I think it's an intriguing game. I've got to say, the Bombers have lifted on the criticism of last week. They have gone better at contested and stoppage work. So full credit to them. But also full credit to the Pies. The Pies have withstood a lot of the pressures and have stood up and find themselves 8 points in front. I think it is, 8 points in front.
The all-time disposal record is 54, held by Tom Mitchell. So
against Collingwood.
What he needs,
2018.
He needs 25 in the second half to set the new high water mark. Darcy Parish with 30 to half time. And for what it's worth, not that I'm suggesting he's leading this category at the moment, but only one player has ever won the Anzac medal in a losing team. Do you remember who that was, Mick?
I'd say be Nathan Buckley.
No, you were coaching one of your players.
Yeah, well, he was one of my players for a long time.
2001?
Oh, 2001. No, not Josh Fraser.
Chris Tarrant.
Oh, of course, Chris Tarrant. Yeah, I should have remembered that because he wasn't too keen to get it.
Right.
Wouldn't be too many defenders who would win it. Or was he a forward?
No, he would have been a forward there. Yeah. And win it, and you're a forward and you lose the game.
Yeah.
So that's a big call.
Hi, team, enjoying the commentary. Question, I saw a picture of the Collingwood bench and two people were holding up the numbers 30 and 1. I've seen teams do this for a long time now, but what does it mean? That's from Peter in Hampton. Go the Blues.
I'm seeing more and more of it, almost the old soccer substitution, who they want to
on
come
and off. Yep.
And I suppose it wouldn't necessarily be the person coming on. It would be to say Darcy Moore and Lipinski to come off the ground as a priority. Because a lot of the players run their own rotations. They know roughly I've been on for a 7, 8, 9 minute burst. I need to get off. But it would be a message to prioritise, can we get these two off for a quick break?
And I imagine that would be happening mid-quarter as opposed to just 30 seconds to go, 1 minute to go, or whatever it may be towards the end of the quarter. But maybe Peter can clarify that for us. And Riley off the SMS, I think Jack Crisp has been brilliant. Obviously kicked a signature goal in that quarter as well. The Pies lead the game by 8 points.
He's going at 100% disposal efficiency. So that's the other part about his game. He works hard, but he uses the footy so well.
Collingwood 6-2-38, Essendon 4-6-30. It's the Pies by 8 points. Half-time on Anzac Day at the G. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Sport Digital. Let's see what's happening in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Clive Hunter. After nearly 3 years of subdued Anzac Day commemorations, crowds have returned for public marches and ceremonies across the country. Natasha McFarlane reports.
The day's first national event was held at Sydney's Martin Place, while Melbourne played host to more than 50,000 people. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Deputy Opposition Leader Richard Marles were both in attendance at Darwin's dawn service. Thousands also turned out to pay their respects to current and former servicemen and women in Canberra, Adelaide and Hobart. Wet weather in Brisbane didn't deter the crowds, while only a few hundred invite-only guests have been able to attend official commemorations in Perth, with COVID restrictions still in place.
Anzac Day services have taken place in London, from where Michelle Rimmer reports.
As the sun rose over London's Hyde Park, hundreds gathered to remember the Australian and New Zealand lives lost in military conflicts. Australia fought alongside Britain as part of the Allied forces in the First and Second World Wars. The dawn service was attended by Australian High Commissioner George Brandis. Dignitaries and members of the public laid wreaths at the Australian and New Zealand war memorials. Later, they'll move to London's Cenotaph, where they'll be joined by the Duke of Cambridge, followed by a service of Thanksgiving at Westminster Abbey. Anzac Day commemorative events are also being held in Belgium and France.
Hundreds gathered at Anzac Cove in Turkey to pay respects after 2 years of pandemic restrictions. Middle East correspondent Tom Joyner reports.
As the blue light of dawn spilled over the Gallipoli Peninsula, official proceedings began with solemn reflection.
Catapult guard! Quick!
Among the hundreds of those gathered on the site of the 1915 Gallipoli landing were Australians come to pay respect in person for the first time after 2 years of restricted travel. Dressed in ceremonial uniform, representatives from countries including Australia and New Zealand laid wreaths in tribute to the memory of the war dead. More than 8,000 Australian soldiers were killed in the Gallipoli campaign. Tom Joyner, ABC News.
A Victorian Aboriginal defence veteran wants the RSL to explain why the Aboriginal flag was not displayed at his local Anzac Day service. Kamilaroi man Dean Duncan served in the Australian Army in the 1980s and says he had to adapt to racism to survive. Mr Duncan attended a dawn service in Sunbury this morning before realising there were no Aboriginal or Torres Strait Island flags in the march. He says he had to leave the service before it even began.
The flag bearers were carrying the normal Australian flags, but then very strangely carrying the British flag
and the American flag. The one that was absent, which drove a bit of a dagger through my heart straight away, was the absence of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander flags.
RSL Victorian Branch President Robert Webster says some marches don't have capacity to fly more flags.
The flags one actually depends on how many flagpoles you've got and the ability to actually raise the flag. If you only got 3 flagpoles, it's a bit hard to put 4 flags up. And so that's the issue with the flag.
Federal opposition has criticised the government's defence preparedness as Defence Minister used Anzac Day to again compare Russia and China to Nazi Germany. From Canberra, political reporter Kathleen Calderwood.
Defence Minister Peter Dutton has likened Russian President Vladimir Putin to Hitler, suggesting on Channel 9 that China is following a similar path as Germany in the lead up to World War II.
We shouldn't take for granted that the sacrifice that was made by the Anzacs, that somehow that will see us through to eternity without conflict in our region.
Deputy Labor leader Richard Marles says the government has failed to keep Australia safe.
We have not seen the preparation under this government.
The Prime Minister Scott Morrison warned in an Anzac Day service about an emerging arc of autocracy, referring to China and Russia.
And France has voted to keep its President Emmanuel Macron in power, rejecting the challenger Marine Le Pen and making him the first president to be re-elected since 2002. The BBC's Hugh Schofield reports.
For Marine Le Pen, it's another defeat, her third at a presidential election, but she said she was not giving up.
Je crains ce soir que le quinquennat qui s'ouvre ne rompra pas.
What she feared, she said, was that the next 5 years would see more of Macron's contempt and brutality towards the people, and that he would do nothing to heal the divisions in the country or stop the suffering. So she would carry on the fight. The result is a clear victory for the president. A majority of the country has decided against the confusion and uncertainty that a Le Pen win would have brought.
Hugh Schofield in Paris. And that's ABC News.
Know the story with ABC News Digital. Get the latest breaking news with live notifications whenever you want, wherever you are.
We are considering going to zero emissions.
We'll go ahead as planned.
And abruptly ended the case.
It will help us all get back to normal and back to all the things that we love.
Those are the kind of things that work.
There's hope for a brighter future.
ABC News, Australia's most trusted news source. Head to news.abc.net.au or download the ABC News app.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
A long kick to Guelphy, who marks on the attacking edge of the centre square. Gee, there's a few options inside 50. Eventually kicks it deep. Perkins, the 20-year-old in his second Anzac Day game. He pops it through. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Kelly turned inside out. Tries to attack the 40. Ginnivan picks it up. He's taken high. Free kick Collingwood in the right forward pocket. This time off his left shoe. He's got Collingwood's first to the second quarter as well. Kicks to Jack Crisp, who's off and running through centre half back. Takes a bounce. He's now up the halfway. Hand pass over to Lipinski. He'll get it back on the 1-2. He's now past the centre square. He's inside 50. Jack Crisp. He kicks goalward. He's kicked it. What a magnificent goal on Anzac Day. Lipinski looks inside the centre square. Grundy takes the mark for Collingwood. Hand pass over to Quaynor. 52 metres out. He kicks a rocket. Puts it through off a single step from 52 out. Isaac Quaynor with a special on Anzac Day.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
This is Grandstand AFL on Anzac Day. Collingwood by 8 points. They kicked 3 goals to 2 in that second quarter. It was the Pies by 6 at quarter time. They now lead it by 8 at the half. They have led the contest by as many as 17 points before Archie Perkins kicked the last goal of the second quarter. Now we suspect there's around 90,000 in the house on Anzac Day, which would be the best attendance for a football game since the pandemic began. The previous high water mark is 78,113 for the corresponding fixture last year. I can confidently say that the crowd is north of that. A couple of incidents out of the game. First of all, Jayden Laverde struggled with what looks to be some kind of a groin injury sustained in the opening moments. He has continued to play and remained out there for the Bombers. While Nathan Kruger, less fortunate, playing just his third game of the year. His match ended against the Crows with a shoulder complaint and looked like the same injury, a left shoulder problem here against the Bombers, so he was subbed out in the second quarter, and Callum Brown has entered the game. Lingy, we were speaking about this, Cameron Ling, by the way, Mick Moldhouse, Matt Clench, myself, Corbin Middlemass, Andrew Mace on the boundary. You were speaking about this pre-game, about sort of the run of players that back up a week after being subbed out. So Darcy Cameron's playing today. He becomes the 12th player out of the 53 guys that have been subbed out up until entering round 6, so the first 5 rounds of the season, and 12 of them are played the next week. So almost 20% of all players that have been subbed out have backed up. We saw another occasion last night in the Richmond-Melbourne fixture where Thompson Dow came to the bench. He looked like he was ready to go back on, and he got told he had a corked thigh, and all of a sudden he was in the second row and out of the game.
Yeah, it was strange, wasn't it? I think Matty Parker was getting ready. He was on the phone, and I was working, doing the television broadcast, and the message came from the producer, who's been subbed off? And I looked at the bench, I've got no idea. Well, neither did Thompson Dow either. Yep. They were all sitting there, and he then got told, the tap on the shoulder, actually, you're off, head to the back row of the interchange bench. The Richmond put out the tweet, as they tend to do through their media department, corked thigh. Well, the medical sub came in for concussion initially.
Yeah, exactly.
It then straight away moved to medical sub. Okay, fine. But with the indication it would be for a player only who was going to miss the following week. Then morphed into a player who was going to be in doubt for the following week. Well, now it just feels like he's not going that well, plus he's got a little knock on the thigh. Let's take the chance to make a sub. So it's almost a sub, the old red vest, green vest. I'm not sure that's what it was brought in for. In fact, I know it's not what it was brought in for, and it shouldn't be. Either make it the sub, the old school sub, don't make them wear the red and green, that was ridiculous, but make it the sub, or make it for concussions only or very, very serious injuries. Make a call on it.
No, I totally agree with you. I think it's been a mockery.
So we've heard a lot of coaches argue that once one team makes their sub, the other team should be, in theory, able to make theirs as well.
No.
It feels like the coaches have already decided, well, if there's no emphasis here from the AFL, we're going to make these when we see fit.
Yeah, it's fair enough, Matt. But as a coach, the greatest challenges are to be able to coach when you're not level with your opposition. Either that they're better than you. What the greatest wins you have when you play a side that's better than you. Technically, you actually got to be better on the day. The other one is, as I say about 6-6-6, I'd like to be able to determine whether I put a player behind, a player in front, 2 wingers, 4 wingers, whatever. So that's been taken away. This evens the game up. If you lose a player, you lose a player. You then have to balance out the 3 players and get by. Now, the fourth one is what Lingy said. If the player goes down because of concussion, and that was the big thing about the AFL at the moment, is this concussion thing, then it's concussion and the player has to miss the next week. But so if he hasn't got concussion, then and he goes off with, say, Laverty goes off or Cameron goes off here, this is your coaching ability. You've got to then balance your side out, work it out, who plays back, who plays more minutes, all this sort of stuff. So I hate it. I don't like it. I just think that it's been manipulated and it's now useless.
I mean, we've gone from 18 to 19 to 20 to 22 aside, and it looks like a very slow way of getting to 23 aside. The way that it's been exploited so far. We may see another one next week because there is some good news out of York Park in Launceston. Sydney beat Hawthorn by 41 points. There was a 73-point turnaround in the game. Swans kicking 9 goals to 1 in the last quarter. But Paddy McCartan was subbed out with suspected concussion. A tweet from John Ralph in the last hour. Brilliant news for Paddy McCartan, who is feeling great and has few or no concussion symptoms. John Longmire's quoted as saying he is fine. The docs were ultra-conservative. He feels really good. He failed a concussion test after forgetting a few questions out of nervousness. But a best-case scenario. So it looks as if Paddy McCartan has dodged a concussion down in Tassie.
Fantastic. Fantastic. News. And even if he does miss 1 week, what's 1 week?
Yeah.
The way, he's one of the great comebacks.
Collingwood by 8 points into the second half we go. Grundy doing battle with Draper. Grundy almost took it out of the ruck with a clearing kick. Ricochets out to Maynard. He hacks a kick forward, but only as far as Martin, who's locked up. Andrew Mays on the boundary. Have we got confirmation of that Collingwood sub?
Yeah, so Brownie is out there, played the last couple of minutes of that quarter, of the second quarter, and he's started this quarter on the field.
Draper takes it out of the ruck for the Bombers. Kicks inside 50. It's wide of Baldwin. A 2-on-1. And in the end, Jeremy Howe's able to pick it up for Collingwood. Out pass for Quaynard. Dodging and weaving and got away from Caldwell. Kicks inboard and finds Maynard for Collingwood at centre half back. Spots Crisp free in the middle of the ground. Feeds the hand pass away to the run of Taylor Adams. Kicks towards the top of the 50. Mychet with 2 to beat. Spoiled down by Ridley. Kelly tried to put the block on, keeping Hoskin Elliott away. Ridley gathers, but his hand pass back is over the boundary line. And a boundary throw in 50 metres out from the Collingwood goal.
It's given us a close one, hasn't it? So far it's been a terrific arm wrestle. So,
can you see Essendon winning?
Oh, either side can win this. I think Collingwood will prevail because I think they've got a more stable side.
Grundy got rid of Draper, but illegally, says the umpire, and Sam Draper will take the free kick on a half back for the Bombers. Collingwood by 6 points in the opening minute.
You haven't seen my tips, though, Matt, so for the year,
hey, I'm not going back there if you're not. Let's move on.
Here's Draper, who goes long out to the southern wing. Peter Wright caught in the back of the pack, and after one touch of it, it's killed over the boundary line by Darcy Moore, so a throw-in right on halfway.
If the Bombers are going to win, they have to do something about Jeremy Howe. At the moment, he is just intercepting everything. I think 6 intercept possessions already. They have to make him accountable somehow.
Collingwood by 8 points. Grundy wins the hit out. McGrath clever, just knocks it back to Merritt, away to Parrish. His hand pass finds Ridley, so between wing and half back, he kicks down the boundary line. Wright goes up, can't complete the mark, and Maynard in the end knocks it out of play. So a throw in between wing and half forward for the Bombers. Essendon haven't won a single third quarter all year. They're 0-5. By the way, you can extend that to second halves. They've won only one of a possible 10 second half quarters.
Is that right?
Thrown back in, Grundy trying to knock it down, but straight to Parrish. Couldn't get a clearing hand pass that comes away. Lipinski hurries a high ball around the southern wing. Cameron sets himself in front. Zirk Thatcher right there with him. Ridley gathers for the Bombers. Hand pass to Heppel. Just got the hand pass away as being tackled by Hoskin Elliott. Gets it back to Ridley. Up towards half forward. Perkins, great fly. Excellent mark. Over the top of Crisp. Jeremy Howe, I don't want to break it to you, Lee, but he's the loose in defence for Collingwood. Perkins inside the 50. They've got Stringer. They had a couple inside the corridor, and in the end, it was a pretty good kick.
Perfect kick.
Maynard would be just kicking himself. He just went to sleep. There's a big hole there, a big channel where players run into. You generally try to follow, and look where it is. It's right through the middle of the ground, so it's not hard to identify, but he just got lost.
One goal next to his name, Jake Stringer. So often a player that can bring the Bombers to life. Directly in front, 40 metres out, Stringer comes in and the MCG erupts. Steers through his second. And the Bombers are as close as they've been since the early stages of the second quarter. Collingwood's lead is just 2 points, 6-2-38 to the Bombers, 5-6-36. 3 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
And there's two ways to take out that influential player like Jeremy Howe behind the ball. It's either a player going and playing directly on him and sitting with him and almost not even leading and just trying to keep him down. They weren't doing that. The other one is to change the angle of the kick inside forward 50. And I reckon Howe plus Maynard were all expecting that to be a longer kick straight down the line, and they were all set up perfectly. But just the late change of pulling it back into the corridor and changing that angle allowed Stringer to take a pretty simple mark in the end. So that's the way they're going to use the ball going forward.
Pies by just 2, back in the middle. Grundy wins the hit out and then follows up. His hand pass picked off by Stringer. The goal kicker for Essendon. Hand pass reaches Parrish, gives it to Caldwell. His kick partially smothered, skews out to half forward. Caldwell goes in, collects it a second time. Hand pass through to Martin. Martin hitting up, Baldwin in the pocket, can't complete the mark. Spills to Martin and Josh Dacos tackles him out of play. A throw in forward pocket for the Dons.
The other thing too, Lingy, is Essendon really didn't capitalise on their stoppages, clearances. They're actually really capitalising at the moment.
Good to see Ian Burrows throwing it back in. ABC staff member with Asia Pacific doing his job on the big stage here. Lipinski's clearing kick. Only as far as Heppel, who takes the mark for the Bombers at left half forward. Trying to capitalise on their dominance early here. Heppel kicks in the direction of Peter Wright. He's got 3 to compete against, and Brodie Grundy flies over the back and takes the mark for Collingwood. There's been a lot of criticism of Grundy's form, Mick. Do you feel like...
Yeah, I think he's just going. He's certainly not dominating. So I expected him to, because he's such an athlete. I just wonder whether he underestimates his value as a ground player. He seems like Draper at the moment has probably had more positions by chasing the ball.
Oh, Grundy short to Lipinski, and Lipinski just punches a bullet-like pass to Crisp. He's been very good. Hand pass to Josh Dacos in front of the interchange. Durham closes him down, caught holding the ball, and Sammy Durham wins the free for Essendon.
Important tackle, because Collingwood had the overlap. Jack Crisp was going to get the handball, was going to get it deep inside 50. Brilliant tackle.
Picked up in a mid-season draft out of Richmond's VFL team, Sam Durham. He's missed only one game since his debut, having played 12 of the last 13 for the Bombers. Now McGrath from the wing, kicks to half forward. Howe flies in the air, no mark. Bombers at the drop, one of them, Caldwell, bangs it on the boot deep forward, but side bottom underneath it takes the mark in the back pocket for Collingwood. Side bottom looks to thread the needle, kicks it over the top, finds Quaynor. Just in front of Ridley, but still inside the defensive 50. As the sun starts to set here at the MCG, Quaynor kicks a high ball up to the southern wing. Have a fly at that. Draper in the end will fly uncontested. Myercheck was outnumbered. Big Sam Draper with another mark. Turns and kicks into the corridor. Zerk Thatcher has it. Chips it over the top. Mark taken by Kelly. Has only the one player behind him. Everyone in front of him as he goes short. Andy McGrath has it. Adjacent to the two centre circles, inside the centre square of the MCG, drives the long kick. Grundy sets himself, rights there, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Madgen for Collingwood, stripped of it. Grundy, quick hand pass to Pendlebury, back to Howe. Just got the kick away as Guelphy loomed on him, but he's turned it over. Shield takes the mark for the Bombers. It's a crowded forward 50. Shield just gives it too much hang time trying to find Caldwell, and he's outmarked. Madgen takes the intercept mark on his 29th birthday for the Pies. Kicks to Crisp. He's all alone at centre half back. Pulls his pass alongside the centre circles. McCreary. Hand pass away to the run of Adams. He'll lift a hand pass back to McCreary. Floats it inside 50 to Myercheck. Myercheck shoots 20 out. He's got 3. Collingwood restore an 8-point break. 7-2-44. Essendon 5-6-36, and again it's Jack Crisp who starts to chain. 8 minutes played, third term.
And speed. They were getting trapped. The quarter hasn't gone that far, but they were getting trapped. Collingwood were getting trapped in the back 50, couldn't get the ball out. Essendon were structurally perfect outside, bringing the ball back in. It needed a kick to find someone near or at the top of the 50 and being able to get the next one over, which Collingwood did, and then it was just open it up. Because Essendon were caught, they were too aggressive, their back line was too far up, got caught out, and they paid a big penalty.
How often do we see that? A congested forward 50 at one end, and Collingwood run at the length of the ground and are able to score. Magpies out by 8 points. Umpire prepares himself to bounce back in the middle of the MCG. Draper sets himself, but Grundy wins down the tap. Looking for De Goey. Provides the block, and Nick Dacos comes up with a clearance. Hand pass to Maynard. Kicks towards half forward. It's wide of Ginnivan. He soccers it off the turf. Straight to the boundary. Umpire says insufficient intent. And the Bombers will take it back at right half back. Ridley to take the free kick. Collingwood by 8 points.
I always find that one strange when it's the forward who's trying to get a ball further forward and maybe try and run onto it. He's penalised for insufficient attempt. He's trying to create the play and get an attacking option.
Ridley short to McGrath. McGrath long down the line, right the target. Grundy spoils it into the path of Maynard, who chucks it on the boot, kicks down the wing. Myercheck at the drop. Laverty arrives late and spoils it out of play. So a throw in between wing and half forward for Collingwood. 8-point lead for the Pies, 7-2-44. Essendon 5-6-36. As they were at half-time, Collingwood by 8 points.
Got out by as much as 17 in the second quarter. Draper knocks it down to the front. Parrish didn't get a hand pass away as he's tackled. The footy locked underneath him. And the umpire will throw it up. Just between wing and half forward for the Magpies. Fair few numbers around this stoppage. Grundy tries to flick it down to De Goey. Little toe poke trying to work for Lipinski. Over the footy is Merritt. A chance still for Collingwood as Nick Dacos comes up with it. Squaring kick to the top of 50. Finds brother Josh. Couldn't hang on to the mark. back onto it, outside 50, trying to cut left and now back onto the right, sends it in the Cameron direction. It's wide of him, and Sir Thatcher bounces out of play for a throw-in in the right forward pocket for the Pies.
Oh, Nick Cox just dodged one then. He let Josh Dacos get goal side of him from the wing and looked for a moment like Dacos was going to come in and kick a goal. Very lucky.
Pies by 8 deep forward at the boundary throw-in. Grundy wins it down to Goey after it. Falls over chasing the footy. McGrath mops it up for Essendon. Hand pass to Heppel. Kicks to half-back and Shield takes the mark. Essendon's number 9. With only 8 games last year. And his second Anzac Day clash. The 29-year-old goes long down the wing. Maynard in from the side, spoils it down to Hobbs, who's taken high. Advantage applied, the Bombers are out. Perkins kicks in the middle of the ground for Ridley.
Takes the mark, looking for options. Cox is wide at half forward, sends it in that direction, missed him. Although Sidebottom missed it, trying to get a finger to it. Gathered by Cox, hand pass to Martin, trying to sidestep Howe. Getting back onto his left now, squaring kick for Waterman. Lipinski over the back, tried to mark rather than spoil. Hand pass comes out, flying shot on goal by Hobbs, and it misses to the left. Missed everything.
Wow. Zero composure there by the Bombers on multiple occasions.
What about bringing the ball back in there early on?
They just refused to kick the ball to Baldwin.
Yes, who was clear.
A simple target.
But they did it in the Geelong game, the last game he played, and they've had chances already. You highlighted the Waterman one earlier, and again there they had him on in the pocket and they won't kick it to him. Maynard from the back pocket. Out to the northern boundary line for Josh Dacos. The 1-2 by hand with Lipinski. And now Dacos over halfway. Kicks down to half forward. Grundy in a 1-on-3. Stringer back, lending a hand for the Essendon defence. He links up with Kelly. Hand pass to Heppel and off to McGrath. Still at half-back Essendon.
Dodging and weaving back to Laverty. And now to Merritt, who switches play across the half-back line, opens up play for Ridley, looks up and Cox is free on the southern wing. Now he's got Baldwin free at half-forward, Darcy Moore closing and punches it away. How quick was Darcy Moore? Finally, Baldwin gets some space and the kick, well, it hung for a second, but that's not giving Moore enough credit. Eventually it goes out of play for a boundary throw-in.
Well, there's lessons learned. You always come and meet the football for a start off, regardless of how comfortable you feel. On a day like this, 90,000, you won't be able to hear it. So therefore, go and meet the ball. But that was well done by Darcy Moore.
It's like a saved the goal. Everyone at the MCG, all 90,000, knew it was coming, except for the man who was hoping to receive it.
From the boundary throw-in, Wright palms it down. Here's Crisp. He's gang tackled straight away. Cox extracts the footy, then coughs it up. Hand pass straight to Nick Dacos, who burns and blows past Merritt. Kicks down to half forward. McInnes the target, but Essendon intercept through Laverty. Hand pass to Merritt, to McGrath, then to Merritt. He goes back by hand to Heppel. In the defensive 50, but on the run. Kicks it across the half-back line, and Durham takes the mark. Left half-back for Essendon. It's Collingwood by 8 points. 13 travelled in the third.
Durham looking for options, decides to take a bounce as Myercheck eventually comes towards him. Long kick towards the members wing. Guelphy sets himself, got underneath it. Baldwin takes the marks. Not the intended target, but on this occasion able to mark on his chest. Looks towards Stringer. Kick has to get over Madgen. Madgen up, knocks it down to the front. Noble keeps it alive. Hand pass to Howe. They did that well. Back to Madgen despite Stringer's lunging effort. Kicks up towards the wing. Onto it, Cal Brown. He's dragged down. Good tackle from Martin. Umpire says he didn't have prior opportunity and will throw it up just in front of the two benches.
Just watching the setups, both sides are trying to get the extra behind the ball just to take the sting out of any run through the middle.
Magpies by 8 points, 14 played third term. Up it goes, Grundy wins the tap, down to Shield, hand pass, releases right, needs it to sit for him and it does. Hand pass to half forward for Guelphy, swings it inside to Caldwell, kicks it into an open forward 50, wants Waterman, Waterman's got it! In a 2-on-1 and Waterman marks 30 metres out just right of centre. And he'll shoot to try and put the Bombers back within a kick.
Yeah, Darcy Moore there too has got a very, very good mark with Sidebottom coming back in front of him. Probably would have given away a free kick, but I'm sure it was Darcy Moore that he took the mark.
Perfect kick too.
That was a perfect kick, yeah.
Jake Waterman, he's got 1-1 for the day. 5 goals, 2 for the season. Kicked 4 the last time these two teams met, which was round 23 of last season. Waterman with his left-footed drop punt. It's pure. Through it goes, and the Bombers are within 2. 15 played in the third. Essendon to 6-6-42. Collingwood 7-2-44. Grandstand AFL, Waterman with his second.
I'm just going to say, Lingy, it's okay. Essendon have had more possessions in each of the quarters, but this is 59-41, and it's the right people winning the ball at Essendon. So this is where the Pies have now got to start looking at these clearances and probably, not necessarily overhand passing, that's the last thing, but controlling the ball a bit more, because at the moment it's only the quick play that's getting them into a scoring position where they're not steady enough at the moment.
No, and Essendon have balanced up their kick to handball ratio better. They had more handballs than kicks in the first half, overusing it now. 34 kicks, 25 handballs, a better ratio, getting some reward for it.
Waterman with his second, and the Bombers are within striking distance once more. DeGoey trying to get the clearance. Tackled, lost it. Draper emerges. Hand pass wide of Stringer. Noble couldn't take it cleanly. Stringer bounced onto him, gathered it, dragged down. Good tackle, Maynard. Umpire calls play on. Ferocious footy. Nick Dacos hand pass out to Pendlebury, to DeGoey in the back half. The boundary umpire slips over as it kicks wide towards side bottom, and the ball goes out of play.
It's a good decision by the umpire, because no one knows
laying on his backside.
Well, he didn't want to kick the ball out, and he was aiming for side bottom. It was a pretty ordinary kick, mind you.
That wasn't our man Ian Burrows, Corby. I know you were going to ask, but he keeps his feet.
Collingwood by 2 points. Half forward for Essendon on the boundary throw in. Cameron down to DeGoey, and DeGoey's locked up straight away by Guelphy. Umpire says holding the ball.
Oh, hang on. You've got to have prior opportunity.
Either that, or he said he didn't make as much of an effort to get rid of it. And Guelphy's going to get the free kick. The man on the mark's 45 metres out from the Essendon goal.
And this is the bit that gets people frustrated. So Jordan DeGoey tackled without prior opportunity. That he would have been better off just letting go of the ball.
Yeah, had the arm pinned.
Yeah, because he couldn't legally dispose of it.
Yeah,
so if he just let it go, just drop it, it would have been called play on.
Yeah.
So a controversial free kick. But Guelphy receives the free. He's dropped, punished straight through. He puts Essendon in front. First lead change today. It comes at the 18-minute mark of the third quarter. Essendon by 4 points, 7-6-48. Collingwood 7-2-44. Grandstand AFL.
Well, I'll say again, Lingy, this is a chance now to Collingwood to regather their thoughts, not about their strength, thoughts. How do we clear the ball? Because right now we're under siege with possession rate. Clearances it doesn't matter that it says 5v8 or whatever the case is, it's the effect of the clearances.
And inside 50s at the moment, 11-4 this quarter, Essendon's way. So now the Collingwood defenders who were intercepting the ball and being really proactive, they're starting to feel the heat a little bit on the back foot.
Bombers in front, bounce in the middle. Cameron wins down the tap, but almost straight to Draper. Ricochets off him. Parrish and Merritt combined. Parrish with another clearance of the Bombers. Kick not all that well intended. And Maynard takes the intercepting mark. It was wide for Stringer. Works it to half back. Josh Dacos has it. Drives a kick to brother Nick. Beautiful vision. He marks it right half forward. Hand pass to Taylor Adams. Pokes the kick to Cameron. Good ball movement from Collingwood. And the two Dacos brothers combining, like the Bash brothers on the MCG.
What a beautiful kick by Josh Dacos. He looked inside to DeGoey, and DeGoey's thinking, I've got this one. And he's just looked further afield and found someone 40 in front. You've got to go, if you can go forward if you can find someone.
This is just his second kick of the match, Darcy Cameron. So looking to try and have an influence here. He'll kick from just inside 50 out to the right. Looking to try and steer Collingwood back to the lead. Cameron comes in, starts at left. It's not bending back. And a minor score. The Bombers lead by 3 points at the 19-minute mark of the third term.
He's normally a pretty good kick, but when you only take 2 or 3 steps and expect to kick it straight, anything can happen, particularly with a right footer. It'll fade left, which it did again.
Essendon conceded 6 unanswered goals in the third quarter against Freo last week. They've kicked 3 goals to 1 here. And they're in front for the first time in the ball game as the exiting kick from Redmond finds Martin. He goes short to McGrath, and now short by foot to Heppel.
Setting this up for Peter Wright down the line again.
Goes in that direction. Wright crunches into Cameron, can't mark, but it spills to Waterman. Hand pass to McGrath to Shield, and he feeds it all the way back to Heppel. He'll kick it to right again, and Cameron again dropping back in the hole. Cuts it off for Collingwood.
Bravery. Total bravery. Got cleaned up the other time, second time.
His kick just got to Moore, who takes it around his bootlaces. Swings it to centre half back to Jeremy Howe, who's had it on a string, goes across the half back line to Pendlebury. The long kick to side bottom on the southern wing.
Takes the mark in front of Hobbs. Can hand pass over the top to Lipinski, who's kept running. Has to go over the top. Hand pass to him. Turns onto his right. Snaps inside 50. Draper dropped the mark. He was uncontested. He has support though. Kelly tells him where to go. The hand pass to Martin wasn't all that good. Zirk Thatcher over the footy. Nick Dacos lays the tackle. Umpire circles and will ball it up.
Just a little mistake from Sam Draper there, but he's been superb today. And really important for the Bombers.
Time on third term, Dons by 3. Draper wins the tap at half-back for Essendon. Down to Merritt, chucks it on the boot, kicks to the southern wing. Spills to Guelphy, hand pass out wide for Waterman. Run down by Maynard. Maynard on his knees, just scrapping after the footy. Got it out to Pendlebury. Hand pass to Sidebottom, who kicked a volley down to half-forward. Unkind bounce for Kelly. McGrath tries to knock it through to Draper, who took the knees out of Cameron, sliding down low, and a free kick for Cameron. A reckless move from Big Sam Draper.
Oh, you can't do that. That's look. He hasn't played enough of the football. Give him that. But that's how you really damage players' legs. So it's a great decision by the umpire.
Cameron's out wide, 55 from home. Centering kick finds Adams. Right on the digits for the 50. Left half forward. Adams looks into the pocket. McCreary hitting up straight through his hands. And Laverty helps it over the boundary line. So a throw in forward pocket for the Magpies. It's Essendon by 3 points. They've kicked 3 goals to 1 in this third term, which is now 22 minutes old.
Ball spinning back into play. Draper sets himself against Cameron, knocks it down to the front. Straight though to McCreary. Jams the kick towards the goal mouth. Up Martin, couldn't take the mark. Ginnivan's there. Jams it on the boot. He'll take his opportunity. Jack Ginnivan with his third. And he brings the Collingwood fans at the City into voice after silencing the Essendon fans earlier. Collingwood back in front by 3 points. 8-3-51 to the Bombers, 7-6-48. 22 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Why do I get the feeling over the next few years, Mick, that Jack Ginnivan and Archie Perkins are going to have a lot of swagger at each end for these two teams on Anzac Day?
Well, have a look at the colour of his hair for a start. I mean, if you want to attract just the attention to yourself, either go dark, don't go light. He's done that, and when he does, he knows the game so well. That's what I like about him. For a young player,
he just goes for it, backs himself, doesn't he? It's brilliant to watch. It's exciting to watch.
Doesn't mind a celebration either.
Oh yeah, that's a good celebration.
Swagger's a bit of an overrated thing today, but that guy has it for real. Jack Ginnivan.
There's nothing made up about it, is there? He's just
absolutely.
Have a look around the crowd and you see the difference in how the people were associated with that goal kicked.
3-point lead for Collingwood. Second lead change of the quarter, second of the game. Out of the middle, Draper down to Shield, kicks into open space at half forward. Perkins turns Quaynor inside out, wins it for Essendon, gives it to Hobbs. Quaynor tackles him, ball socket away to Draper, who beats two. Big fend off to Quaynor. Draper kicks it to the top of the goal square. He's off target. Bright trying to keep it alive. He's out of room. And it slides through for a long range behind for Sam Draper.
He's brilliant. He's absolutely does not know what ruckman is supposed to do. I see ball, get ball, and I'm going to run with the ball. He's just fantastic.
For a guy who grew up, that's a bad kick for Noble. Turns it straight over. Looking for Darcy Moore, and Alec Waterman slips in and takes the mark.
There's time when you know you've got to choose something off, but not when you're in the back 50 and there's a lot of opposition within range, so to speak.
Yep, John Noble would want that ball back. Darcy Moore was stationary. The kick wasn't on. And Waterman with a chance to kick his third. And all of a sudden return the Bombers to the lead. 45-degree angle, kicking from about 40 metres out. Waterman steers it through. And the Bombers are back in front. Third lead change of the match. Essendon 8-7-55 to the Pies 8-3-51. 25 minutes gone, third term.
And Noble's been excellent all game, Mick. He's been one of those players who've taken the game on. He does use the dangerous kick. He runs and follows up. But on that occasion, he just read it all wrong. You want players in his position to be able to think, okay, that's on, bang, I'll take it, back my leg. But then there's times where you've got to look and think, I'm kicking to a stationary player 35 metres away, and there's two Essendon players in my vision at the same time. By the time I kick it, they can probably get that.
Yeah.
And he just read it all wrong on that occasion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right, Lee. It's the better players know when to strike and know when to pull it back and play that hand. And it's a given goal.
The Bombers back in front, third lead change of the quarter. Draper wins the tap, comes down underneath to go. He's pushed in the back by Caldwell.
Oh, that's one of those that could be prohibitive contact below the knees. Instead it goes to Goey.
Hand pass to Maynard, links up with Noble, kicks to Ginnivan, who takes the mark at centre half forward. So Noble with the service after the turnover that cost Collingwood a goal. This will take Ginnivan's best kick, the man on the mark 48 metres out.
You know what I like? Just a couple of things. When Noble turned that ball over, Braden Maynard went straight to him and just talked to him, pushed Guelphy away, told him you don't need to get stuck into him, had a good chat to him. Then Noble straight away joins in the run and attack there and kicks that ball inside forward 50. Good leadership by Maynard before.
Absolutely.
G. Ginnivan's got 3 already. He loads up from 55 metres out, kicks a cannon. My name is the Slim Shady lookalike Jack Ginnivan. Puts through goal number 4 on Anzac Day at the 27-minute mark of the third term, and the lead is changing on every major at the moment. Collingwood back in front, 9-3-57, Essendon 8-7-55.
We used the rule. The man on the mark in yesteryear cuts across him and stops him. He just said, the umpire's not going to call play on as quick as I can get past him, so he used the extra metre, but it was a rocket. We know he's now good for it.
For so long, Collingwood have been searching for a key forward. They've found one in Jack Ginnivan, who's only 185 centimetres, but a goal in every game he's played so far this season. All of a sudden, he's up for 10 for the year. And the arms outstretched as it went through as well. Collingwood back in front by 2 points. Grundy went early against Draper. He wins down the tap to Merritt. And Parrish, another disposal. He kicks towards half forward. Wright was moved off it too easily by Darcy Moore, who takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood at half back. Kicks up towards Cameron, charging from a long way out. Crashed over the back of Redmond. To go, he ran into Martin, tackled. Gets the half pass clear, but the umpire says he was holding the footy. And Martin to take it for the Bombers on the wing. Collingwood by 2 points.
Waterman with 2 in the quarter at one end. Ginnivan with the last 2 at the other end. He's got 4 for the day. Jack Ginnivan. The kick from the Bombers down to half forward. Grundy punches it away, but there's a free. And Baldwin's going to get it. Didn't spot that. He may have got a nudge.
Yeah, they called it for a block in the marking contest, but I'm not sure, Corbs.
Well, Baldwin wants to go short. It's barely 15. The ump's going to pay it.
That's gone 8 metres.
McGrath takes the mark. Right on the 50. So McGrath loads up. He's just going to put it in the Peter Wright direction. He's out to meet it. Can't mark. Spills down to Durham. Tackled. Lost it. Durham gets it again. Gets back to his feet. Tackled. Taken to ground. And the umpire now says ball up in line with the goal square. Deep forward for Essendon. The leader swung on the last 4 goals in the game. It's currently Collingwood by 2.
29 minutes gone, third term. A lot of numbers around this. Wright tries to toe poke it out of the ruck, and then Baldwin becomes the tackler. Footy stuck to Hoskin Elliott's chest. Eventually he rushes it through with the support of Howe for a minor score. So Collingwood leading by 1 point. 29 minutes gone, third term.
Pies had to use their sub in the second quarter. A left shoulder complaint for Nathan Kruger, so Cal Brown into the game. Nick Hind yet to be activated for the Bombers. Howe from the kick out. Hand pass to Noble, runs to halfback, kicks to Cameron on the wing. Going up, hand on it from Zerk Thatcher. No, mark for Cameron. Hand pass to Brown, gives it to DeGoey. Kicks for Myercheck. What a kick! Myercheck straight onto his chest, can't complete the mark. Goes back and collects. He's tackled, taken to ground. Umpire says play on. McCreary stands up with it. Still the ump lets them go. You throw a blanket over 20 players here, and Guelphy in the end buried in the tackle. And a ball up 40 metres out from the Collingwood goal. How was the kick from DeGoey?
It was perfect, wasn't it? Ooh. I thought Myercheck was going to swallow that for sure.
Essendon with 4-3 in this third quarter. Chance for the Pies. Lipinski from the stoppage. Umpire says over the shoulder. And a Bombers free kick. Parrish is going to take the advantage. Takes a bounce at half back and then fires the hand pass back to Redmond at left half back. Kicks to the runner Martin and bounces in front of him. Noble the other direction. Got him. Got the hand pass away just in time. Back to Parrish. Back to Redmond, who kept running. Gets the left half forward. Awkward left foot inside 50. Baldwin couldn't get there. Spoiled down by Madgen. It comes to Caldwell. He's spinning kick towards the goal mouth. Is intercepted. Just couldn't quite get the purchase onto it. And Darcy Moore takes the mark at the top of the defensive goal square. Collingwood by a point. Maynard it was with the tackle.
4 lead changes in the quarter. Collingwood led it by as many as 17 in the second term. He kicks wide for Grundy, who shoves Durham out of the way, takes the mark. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott along the southern boundary line to Ginnivan, who's got 4. Oh, his hand pass is picked off straight to Draper. Essendon win it back on halfway. Hand pass to Durham. Hand pass inside to Perkins. Kicks to centre half forward. Noble knocks it away. And Josh Dacos at half back mops it up for the Pies.
Dacos sends it up to the wing towards Cameron, and that'll do us. What a thrilling final quarter we're in for. Collingwood hold a 1-point advantage with 1 quarter to go. 9-3-57 to the Bombers, 8-8-56. Essendon with 4-2 in that third quarter to Collingwood's 3-1. After the Magpies led by 6 points at quarter time and by 8 points at half time. The goal scorers for the Magpies, 3 to Brody Myercheck and 4 to Jack Ginnivan. Individuals to Crisp and to Quaynor. Meanwhile, for the Bombers, their goals have come through 3 to Alex Waterman, 2 to Stringer, 2 to Perkins and 1 to Matt Guelphy.
So 3-quarter time at the MCG on Anzac Day. And after a lead swung on the last 4 goals of the match, it's Collingwood who led it by a solitary point as we turn for home. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
If you're not going through an emergency situation right now, it might be the perfect time to explore the all-new ABC Emergency website. ABC Emergency lets you search for incidents near you, or you can check on other locations around the country. There's also a handy button that lets you listen to the local ABC radio station closest to the emergency. abc.net.au/emergency. Save it in your favourites now and keep listening to ABC Radio, your emergency broadcaster.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Hand pass away to the run of Adams. He'll lift the hand pass back to McCreary. Floats it inside 50 to Myercheck. Myercheck shoots 20 out. He's got 3. Half forward for Essendon on the boundary throw in. Cameron down to DeGoey, and DeGoey's locked up straight away by Guelphy. Umpire says holding the ball.
Oh, hang on. You've got to have prior opportunity.
But Guelphy receives the free. He's dropped, punished straight through. He puts Essendon in front.
McCreary jams the kick towards the goal mouth. Up Martin couldn't take the mark. Ginnivan's there. Jams it on the boot. He'll take his opportunity. Jack Ginnivan with his 3rd. Oh, that's a bad kick for Noble. Turns it straight over. Looking for Darcy Moore, and Alec Waterman slips in and takes the mark. 45-degree angle, kicking from about 40 metres out. Waterman steers it through, and the Bombers are back in front.
DeGoey, hand pass to Maynard, links up with Noble, kicks to Ginnivan. He loads up from 55 metres out, kicks a cannon. My name is the Slim Shady lookalike Jack Ginnivan. Puts through goal number 4 on Anzac Day. And the lead is changing on every major at the moment.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Mr. Light Work himself, Jack Ginnivan, has 4 for the day after missing the match against Brisbane with general soreness. He's back fresh off a spell. He's kicked 4 to 3-quarter time. He's got 10 for the year. And Collingwood lead it by just 1 at 3-quarter time. What a day here at the MCG. Think 90,000 plus. If you're a footy fan, how can you not geek out over this? Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse.
Well, we certainly are, Corbs. We're having a great time here. Mick and I, we're just saying to each other, can't pick a winner from here because Collingwood just didn't get the ball inside their forward 50 that quarter. But on the few occasions they did, gee, they looked dangerous. They were moving the ball quick, and the run, and even Noble's kicking to Ginnivan. Just outstanding the way they did it. But then on the other hand, 17 times it went inside the Essendon forward 50 that quarter. So they're controlling the clearances and they're getting it in there, but they're not quite as efficient.
No.
4 goals to 3 in the quarter, all of that. It's going two very distinct styles. Essendon relying on the clearances and trying to own the ball in their forward 50. Collingwood relying on the times where they do get through. They are flying through. So I don't know. I don't know how this last quarter goes. I still feel Collingwood, but I say that with less and less confidence as each minute that goes by.
I'm right with you. Because you said about less productive in the forward line. Wright's kicked 12 goals 5, but hasn't looked dangerous up there just simply because of the way the ball comes in and Grundy's getting back, Moore's down there, Jeremy Howe's down there. On the other side, Collingwood's leading goal kicker has been Geordie De Goey on 8 and Brody Myercheck on 8. So what do we got there? So Myercheck's kicked 3. So he, at least a forward that they can rely upon, has kicked goals.
Well, so Peter Wright, his role is going to have to be, no matter what, Darcy Moore or Jeremy Howe does not mark the football this entire last quarter. He might finish this game on 0 goals, but still have one of his most important games of the year.
Well, they'll say if it's kicked in the air, they'll kill it or they'll mark it, and then they'll run it out. So that's the dilemma. When you're a leading goal kicker and everyone expects you to kick goals, that you still go for your marks. There's been a lot of bravery. Look, I've been impressed in Essendon after last week, but right in front of us, hasn't had a big day. Cameron went back and copped an absolute shellacking from Draper. The ball rebounded, come back again. He stood his ground and took a mark in front. The bravery of these players is just extraordinary because he could have easily taken a little backward step and thought, I'll let it go in my head, but no, stood his ground. I'm only using him because of the bravery that these players display. And Essendon picked up their tackling. Collingwood got theirs, although there's not a lot of tackles. Has not been a lot of tackles from either side.
Earlier, Sydney beat Hawthorn by 41 points, a 73-point turnaround in that game. Andrew Mays is on the boundary. Maysy.
At three-quarter time, Corbin, Essendon have finally activated that sub, so Laverde has succumbed to that leg injury, and on comes Nick Hines. So he's standing next to Brody Myercheck at the moment. I'm sure he won't line up on him for most of the quarter.
So we thought it might have been a hamstring earlier, but Nick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling suspect it may be more of a groin. So Laverde out of the game, Nick Hind in. Thanks, Maisie, for that. So here we go, a quarter to come. Beautiful day in Melbourne. Reached the top of 24. The yellow Sharon whacked into the turf in front of a mostly full MCG. Grundy down to Pendlebury, hand pass to Crisp. Kicks to centre-half forward. Redmond knocks it down for Essendon at centre-half back to Hind, the sub. His first disposal. Hand pass to Zirk Thatcher, to Merritt, to Parrish all by hand. And now Hind kicks up over halfway. Durham the target. Outnumbered Quaynor just kills it over the boundary line.
And just in case you wanted the possession count, or anyone who's listening, Darcy Parrish, 39 disposals. So it went a little bit quiet in that third quarter, Mick. Only the 8 touches.
Yeah, well, he's had more than 8 for a full year. I'm jealous.
Thrown back in. Draper for the Bombers, knocks it down to the front. McGrath somehow was able to squeeze a kick as he was being tackled towards half forward, and Shield is taken over the boundary line.
Gee, I've loved Draper's game too. He's been brilliant. He just scraps and fights. He's going to be crucial in this last term against Grundy.
Well, so too Grundy.
Yep.
So Swamp Thing was on Twitter saying Darcy Parrish with the most disposals in a first half since 2000. Of course, Matt Prittis and Tom Mitchell on that list. McGrath squeezes a kick inside the 50 for the Bombers. Stringer trying to work boundary side. Nick Dacos kept it in, which was adventurous, but he made it work. Good 1-2 with Jeremy Howe. Now wants a switch play. Out towards side bottom. Risky kick. Clears him and Cox, and running on Redmond for the Bombers.
Redmond puts the afterburners on. Kicks into the pocket for Guelphy.
Brilliant Redmond. Backed himself there. And on the left. Great kick.
Yeah, right. Stuck to the boundary line all the way along.
Let's see how the peroxide head bomber goes. Ginnivan kicked 2 in the third quarter to this City end. Guelphy for his second. He's snapping. He bends it through. Superb finish. Essendon back in front.
Wow.
The last 5 goals, the lead has swung on each of them. Essendon by 5 points, 9-8-62. Collingwood 9-3-57. 2 minutes into the final term.
Well, I'll say again, You said about Big Sam Draper. I reckon that between the two ruckmen, this could come down to their ability to influence the actual stoppage one way or the other. Stop it, do it again, or try to get that ball out. The follow-up by both players, they're both good follow-up players. Yeah. Draper's been outstanding. I think this is where Grundy probably needs to stand up a bit more and act as another ruck rover type player.
Matt Guelphy with his second goal of the match, and the Bombers are back in front by 5 points. In the middle, Grundy wins down the tap to De Goey, who tries to knock it on only as far as Merritt gets the hand pass to Shield, to Draper, to Parrish. The Bombers with the clearance now. Hand pass out to Merritt, gives it back to Shield. They haven't gone anywhere. Hand pass out on the wing for Mason Redmond. With a raking kick, finds Hine. He can't quite jump on the mark. In front of Grundy though. Gets the hand pass back to Draper. Trying to get away from De Goey. Hacks the kick inside 50. Guelphy from behind won't get there. And Nick Dacos takes the mark. 35 metres out from his defensive goal.
One of 13 guys in his first Anzac Day clash. Nick Dacos, 5 for Collingwood, 8 for Essendon, including Draper, who's had a big afternoon, and Ginnivan for Collingwood as Dacos kick out to the wing. No mark taken by Hoskin Elliott. He gets it back though from side bottom and then kicks down the line, wants McCreary, and he marks. Able to shake Ridley as that ball was coming in. And McCreary just waits for some numbers. He pokes it over the man on the mark, the side bottom. 70 out at half forward against the boundary line. Kicks to Myercheck, one-on-one. Myercheck's got it. Just a little nudge, separates himself from Zirk Thatcher. And Myercheck marks right forward pocket for the Pies.
And that's the worry with Laverty now being subbed off. Yes, you get the run of Nick Hind, and that could be beneficial in this last term. But if Collingwood can get it in quick enough to their key forwards, in particular Myercheck, in a one-on-one, they've just lost that bigger body defender, the Bombers now.
Yep, absolutely.
An amazing run in this game. We didn't have a lead change until the 18-minute mark of the third quarter. The lead swinging on the last 5 goals. Myercheck makes it 6. Returns Collingwood to the front. He's got 4. And Ginnivan and Myercheck, the unlikely combo up front, have 8 between them. 5 minutes into the final term, Collingwood 10-3, Essendon 9-8. It's the Pies by a point.
Well, it's quite amazing. Collingwood have got 4 goal kickers as of Essendon, and we're into the last quarter. It's quite an amazing game that we've been relying on so few, I suppose, in the forward line. I just noticed Craig McRae come down to the bench too. I'm not too sure how often he does that. Last quarter,
I think he was down there most of the first. Which
right.
Was
well,
unusual.
You've got to rely very heavily on what is happening up in the box, because let me tell you, from down there you can only see part of the game, and you do miss the way the ball gets transferred around. So if he's happy with his team, well, and I mean the team in the box, it's a good position to be.
Collingwood back in front by a point. Bounce in the middle. Draper wins down the tap over the back, but straight to Pendlebury. Into the midfield, the Collingwood captain out in front of De Goey. Can't gather. Knocks it to half forward. Hine has it. Tackled by Adams. Hand pass away. Got it to Merritt. To Martin under pressure. Back to Parrish. Almost run down. McInnes, good chase. But was able to find Durham, who takes the mark on the wing. Scott Peter Wright long down the line, but not really in too much intent to head it in that direction. Now decides to. Sends it, in fact, more towards Draper than Wright. And at the back of the pack, Jeremy Howe. Just another intercept possession. He had no right to take that mark, given the tall timber there.
There's a huge show in the mix for the Anzac medal. Jeremy Howe, there's only 3 previous winners on the ground. Pendlebury's won 3, side bottom 1, and Parrish won the award last year as Howe goes short to Callum Brown, kicks to the outer wing for Madgen. Madgen sends it down that southern wing for McCreary, no mark, but follows up as it hits the deck. Hand pass to Quaynor, he's 60 out, short kick to Ginnivan.
He's putting his hand up for the medal too, Corbs.
Oh, he will. He's got it up, Lingy. He's had it up since he ran down the race.
It might have started permanently up.
He's probably got a replica in his pocket somewhere. But good lead, good play. I thought Quaynor might have actually had a shot from there. He's knocked one over in that second quarter, I think.
Jack Ginnivan. He's been really the story of the Pies all year after his exploits with the GoPro in round 1. Ginnivan for 5 on Anzac Day. He's got a handful. This brother can really go. Jack Ginnivan puts Collingwood 7 points clear. 7 minutes played in the final term. Collingwood 11-3-69. Essendon 9-8-62. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Big injury concern for the Bombers as well. Darcy Parish just jarred his ankle in that contest where he got run down from behind. He came straight off, tried to run, couldn't do so, straight down to the rooms.
And thanks for that, Maisie. And it's interesting, looking at the bench right now for the Bombers. Darcy Parish, it's said just with a bit of an injury concern. Zach Merritt, Dylan Shield and Jake Stringer.
Yeah.
I know you've got to get rotation and rest into some people, but not all at the same time.
That's wrong.
Yeah, so the midfield is Hobbs, Perkins, McGrath.
That is totally wrong, Lee. You know, you've got to organise it better. There's a mistake made somewhere there.
Bounce in the middle, Draper up against Cameron, one down the tap, but Pendlebury emerges with it. The Collingwood captain kicks inside 50. Myercheck against a couple, in from the side. Ridley didn't take the mark. McGuinness almost gathers, now he does. Dribbles it through. Couple of quick ones in succession for Collingwood. 3 on the trot. He's had a pretty quiet afternoon, Rick McGuinness, but he was able to get on the end of one there and stretch Collingwood's lead out to 13 points. 12-3-75 to the Bombers, 9-8-62. 8 minutes gone, final term.
And I hate to repeat myself, Mick. They haven't. Now they're going to do something about to get Waterman off and get Stringer on, but they're not in a hurry to change that bench that I just read out.
And they lost it so badly. They lost that stoppage so badly.
It came out very, very easily. Ends up in a goal at a moment where the game is on a knife's edge.
And he's not going to the centre bounce either, Stringer.
Going into the forward 50.
He was screaming at the 4 in the middle to say, someone get him the forward 50, I'm coming in. And in the end, none of them heard him, and he had to run into the forward 50 for Essendon. Pies with 3 in a row in 3 minutes. They now lead it by 13. Back in the middle of the ground, Hobbs coughs it up. To go, he gets the centre break for Collingwood. Skidding through, McInnes can't take the mark. Hind bottom of the pack, in trouble. Centre half back for the Bombers. The umpire says ball up. Brown tackles him, and up it goes. Centre half forward for Collingwood.
Gee, that was a fraction away from being another shot at goal from a direct centre clearance.
Draper and Cameron tangled. Cameron gave away the free kick. And Draper will take it on the defensive 50 for the Bombers. Feeds the hand pass behind to Ridley. He jams a kick out to right half back, and Zerk Thatcher takes the mark. And Hobbs
very slow,
short.
Yeah, very slow ball movement. This suits Collingwood down the ground. They'll cover everything now. He's under pressure.
Call to play on, so Myercheck comes at him, kicks down the wing, Baldwin the target. Up Madgen and Cameron brought it down. Caldwell's kick was smothered. Taylor Adams there locks the footy on the wing for Collingwood. They lead by 13 points at the 10-minute mark of the final term.
The lead changed on 6 consecutive goals either side of three-quarter time, and now Collingwood have kicked 3 in 4 minutes to lead it by 13. From the restart on the wing, McGrath got it to Perkins. He's tackled, dispossessed. Skidding through Cameron, can't collect it clean. He's taken high. And the Hobbs tackle as the teenager skids in to try and tackle the big ruckman. Cameron's hand pass out to the blind side, finds Noble in front of the interchange. He kicks it inside the forward 50. Myercheck down there with Kelly. Kelly, great work. Takes the mark. The former Crow in the back pocket.
I might be making too big a deal of this, but Ben Rutten is now down.
Hand pass to Hind. He's kicked, missed the intended target, but Hobbs is able to clean it up. Got the hand pass to Caldwell, to Perkins. Kicks in the middle of the ground. Stringer didn't take it cleanly. Trying to give it back to Caldwell. Lost it. Quaynor got in the middle. He was tackled and holding the footy. So the Bombers will take it back in the middle of the ground. Caldwell a bit lucky in the end.
Here they come, Lingy. Draper hits the bench. Shields coming back on, so they get one back, the Bombers. Caldwell kicks out wide for Wright, clattering into his back and giving away the free kick.
Wright's getting the free too high.
I think Wright stepped into Darcy Moore. That was almost to try and block.
Oh, he did.
And a lucky one there. The point I was about to make was Ben Rutten just appeared on the bench about a minute and a half ago. So it takes about 2 or 3 minutes to get down from the coach's box while those key players were sitting on the bench for those repeat centre bounces. You have to think if Rutten was up in the box, Mick, he would have spotted that and said, get him on.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was in transit. Wouldn't have seen it.
This is a big-time kick. Peter Wright on the free. Right half forward. Shot is superb. Straight through it goes. Essendon back within touching distance. 12 minutes into the final term, they cut Collingwood's lead to 7. On the back of the free kick, The Dons 10-8-68, chasing Collingwood 12-3-75. Pies by 7 points, 12 gone in the last. Cameron Ling, Nick Malthouse.
It's a beautiful kick. He slides it from left to right, which is pretty rare. There's not. Well, Hawkins does the same. So they know their kicking power. They know how to get around it. I'm 100% sure that was a free kick. Anyway, it's been paid. I'm with you, Lingy. One of the most principal things of all times is that when you've got 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 good stoppage players or midfielders, don't have them sitting there holding hands on the bench. You've got to rotate it in such a fashion that maximises always every stoppage. Always every stoppage. Don't concede not one of them.
Peter Wright becomes the 5th individual goal scorer for the Bombers. Pies have 5 as well. Wright one down the tap, but De Goey emerges with it. Hand pass to Crisp, kicks inside the 50. Slipping over with Zerk Thatcher. It was wide of Cameron though. McGuinness kept it alive. Cameron slipped over the top of the footy, taken high. Oh no. Yeah, no, the umpire closest to the boundary initiated for high contact, and then all of a sudden seemed to put his hands by his side, almost like a player on the mark.
Yeah, all the players were looking at the umpire in the middle of the ground, waiting for his decision, but
he slid in. Cameron and Kelly got him over the shoulder, so the free kick was there.
Yeah, well, I'll disagree with you. He got him over the shoulder when the ball had stopped. So play had almost stopped. I'm not convinced about that.
Cameron's going to start on the angle and try and step out. Snap truly, 3 big steps. Curling. He's got it! Arms outstretched as he curls it through the major opening. And just as the Bombers close within 7, Collingwood answer straight back out by 13. 13-3-81 to the Bombers, 10-8-68. 14 minutes gone, final term. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Darcy Parish back up from the rooms. He was waiting a couple of minutes to get on. Finally he is after that goal. McGrath off.
Essendon fans getting a look at the replay.
Put a little jab in that, you reckon, Lingy, or retaped? Because it did fall on the ankle.
Yeah.
The tackle was a good tackle, but
they're going to use Peter Wright as the ruckman here, but they've got that midfield group back together now. Merritt, Parish and Shield. Really important clearance. De Goey and Crisp have just dominated the last few centre clearances for the Pies.
It's been an absorbing afternoon, close throughout. 6 lead changes either side of three-quarter time, and now Collingwood. Are they finishing over the top of the Bombers? Is there another twist in this? Parish to right by hand, away to Shield, gives it to Merritt, so the centre break for the Bombers. Baldwin and Moore both underneath the footy. Perkins out to meet it, wheels back onto his right boot, snaps goalward, won't have the distance. Caldwell at the drop, can't take the mark. Bounces off his chest and through for a minor score. And a fist over the top, in fact, from John Noble. Kills it through for a rush behind. Collingwood by 12 points, 15 gone in the last.
Nick Dacos brings Collingwood into play. Kicks to Howe in the back pocket. Up towards Myercheck. Ridley right there with him. Spoils it to the front. Hoskin Elliott with a hand pass to Brown. The medical sub. Pendlebury gone. Never saw Durham. He lays the tackle from behind and takes it back for the Bombers.
You don't see that too often. I'll give it a tip.
No.
He did just stop dead. I don't know. Unless he heard a whistle or whatever.
There's a bit to like about Durham. He's got a bit of the Bombers of old about him. Doesn't mind the tough stuff. Kicks towards Baldwin. Can't take the mark. Madgen retreats back by hand to Darcy Moore. Long raking kick to half back. Looking for Sidebottom. Spoiled away from him. Kelly slipped over. Ginnivan's there. Gathers. Kicks to a vacant wing. The foot race is on. Cameron trailing Zerk Thatcher. The Bomber gets there first. Has support. Hand pass back to Merritt.
Merritt looks into the corridor. Hind takes it. And the outer edge of the centre square. Southern side goes short with his kick to Martin. Of course, the pickup back in March made his way onto the list late. Kicked 5 on this ground in round 1. In his first Anzac Day clash, goes short to Hind, swings a hand pass out to Merritt between wing and half forward, kicks inside 50. Cox takes the mark. The pressure from Maynard came late, and Cox has got it. He's going to lay it off by hand to Stringer, who loads up and won't have the trip to the top of the goal square. Grundy spoils, Hobbs chases after it, Moore sees it through. And another behind. Collingwood by 11, 17 gone, final turn. Pies have kicked 4 of the last 5 goals in the game after falling behind earlier in the quarter.
We could see that Jake Stringer was going to get that ball. So could every Collingwood player. So they were onto him straight away. So calling for it when he's going to be under immediate pressure, it's not clever play.
Darcy Moore long towards Myercheck, who got underneath the footy. Brown's onto it though for Collingwood. Hand pass to Pendlebury, feeds the hand pass to Lipinski in his first Anzac Day match. Kicks over the head of Grundy, hoping he can run onto it. Charging out, good pick up though. Now under enormous pressure, Kelly got it to Hine. Umpire says holding the footy as the two, Kelly and Grundy, are still tangled. And Brodie Grundy will take the free kick 50 metres out.
Pendlebury telling him exactly what to do to that. Great leadership.
Take the 30 seconds, have a shot, burn something off the clock, give your midfielders a rest, allow your team to set up. Really good calmness.
So Pendlebury's been brought into the action too. Just it was really getting away from him in the corridor, in the Zeus. Pendlebury's just settled it down in there.
The big magpie in his 10th season. He's going to give it off to Taylor Adams. He'll mark just inside 50, 45 metres out, just as he was starting his approach towards goal. Do you reckon Taylor's got the distance here?
Yes.
With a wind-up?
Well, he's St. Joey's boys.
Yes, that's right.
I think he was a fair chance he'd kick it over the fence.
Geelong boys looking after each other.
Well, I've got a grandson going there, so I can say that.
Taylor Adams' problem's usually accuracy, though, isn't it? More than anything, these kids.
Hasn't kicked a goal so far in season 2022. He'll shoot from right on 50. Gives it everything he's got. It's going, it's there! The flex to celebrate as well as it carries the goal line. The Magpies, with 5 of the last 6 goals, are out by 17 points. And that throws down the challenge now to the Bombers. 14-3, 87 to Essendon, 10-10, 70. 19 minutes gone, final term. Taylor Adams with a goal.
And Nick, just to back up your point you made about Scotty Pendlebury, Essendon dominating the clearances right across this whole game. This last quarter at Collingwood, a 6-4 up there. Scott Pendlebury, 3 clearances himself. Has been huge in this last term.
For those that are just listening and not watching, let me just say, I've just seen one of the great pieces on TV that you'd ever watch. As soon as that ball went through, there were 3 sailors in the stand. Obviously serving sailors just jumped for joy and hugged each other. It was just what a great moment for them and for us.
What a special day. The Pies by 17 points. Grundy gets a little kick out of the centre square, but Martin for the Bombers. Hand pass to Parrish. His handball too hot for Merritt. There's the goal kicker. Adams feeds a hand pass to the wing. Hobbs will run onto it first, though. Kicks inside 50. Moore there along with Wright. Moore gets a hand on the footy. Stringer now chases out after it, close to the boundary line. And inadvertently socked out by Moore, so we'll have a throw in, 30 out from the Bombers' goal. And there's the crowd posted at 84,205. So it's the best attendance for a footy game since the pandemic began. 84,205. I thought it would be closer to 90 than that, but it's been a hell of an afternoon.
They missed the media on the way in. Feels like more than that. Stringer trying to spin out of the tackle. Quaynor got him. Surely holding the footy. No whistle. Comes out to right, tries to slap it down to Parrish, but Nick Dacos is there. Sends it long towards half-back. Hine sets himself underneath. Taylor Adams spoils it down, doing the tough work after kicking the goal. Lipinski to Crisp to Nick Dacos. All of a sudden, good tackle laid. And Nick Hine laying the tackle as Lipinski tried to stream past.
Shows how amazing the ground is. That I don't know where the other 16,000 seats would be in this venue. There's 84 here today. Hines short to Heppel, kicks across the half-forward line, and now Redmond marks inside the centre square. He just loads up, kicks it to the top of the goal square. Grundy hunts out after it. Wright knocks it down. Pendlebury at the drop, so calm. Hand pass to the back pocket for Collingwood. He links up Grundy with Hoskin Elliott, who sells the dummy to get around Parrish and then kicks down the southern wing. Hind in the box seat to take the intercept mark, and it'll be paid.
And that long high kick is not the way Essendon are going to win this. They've got to get it in there lower, just hit a target around 35 out.
Works it to half forward. Merritt kicks inside the 50. Stringer the target. And with a full vertical leap, he takes the mark in front of Darcy Moore. It was a superb kick from Zach Merritt.
That's a different sort of kick. It's a lower kick, gets there quicker, and just picks apart or falls in between those Collingwood defenders. Long and high, Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe and Brodie Grundy just have a field day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well orchestrated that kick to get there.
2 goals, 2 for Jake Stringer. This is as hard as they come, deep in the left forward pocket. He steered it through, keeps the game alive. Stringer with his third, and the margin is back to 11 points. 14-3-87 the Pies to Essendon 11-10-76. 22 minutes gone, final term.
Great kicking by the Pies to go 14-3. But you see a kick like that, that's an extraordinary kick. He actually got kneed in the back of the hamstring then, Darcy Moore. Darcy didn't mean it, but that would have just taken off a little bit of, you've got to settle down, you've got to get your action right. A kick like that has to be absolutely perfect because of the angle you're on. There's no six, it is still 6.6, but you're probably looking at half a metre, I reckon, to get through.
You don't love having him in, Jake Stringer. He returns today for Essendon. He's kicked 3. It's an Essendon home game, and the Bombers fans find their voice. They need 2 scores. There's still 6 minutes on the game clock. Collingwood by 11 points. Back in the middle, Draper wins it down and then tries to soccer it away. There's a free for a hold.
Yeah, it was on.
Shield.
Yeah.
Shield at his jumper tugs, gets the free in the centre square. Bombers going forward again. Hand pass to Merritt. Merritt kicks inside the forward 50, out in the Stringer direction. Gets there on the bounce. Quaynall tackles him. Taken to ground. Umpire says holding the ball.
Where's prior opportunity gone?
Free kick for Quaynall up against the boundary line, right half back for Collingwood.
This will go all the way back to Jack Madgen, who marks at the top of the defensive goal square. City end, then out to Jeremy Howe. He works it short to Josh Dacos, who marks at left half back for the Magpies. Collingwood by 11 points. 23 minutes gone, final term in front of 84,000 at the MCG. Of course, the biggest crowd since the Cricket World Cup here. Our women have won a 50 over World Cup since then. Just great to have people back at the footy.
That's well worked out, that kick. What a beautiful kick to Grundy.
Dacos found Grundy, and now a 50-metre penalty.
No.
Did Dylan Shields say something to the umpire?
No, it was Nick Hine to stand on the mark. Brodie Grundy actually went to kick and moved off the line.
Should have been called play on.
It should have been called play on, and Hine moved, as every person would do. Oh, I can't stand it when that happens, Nick.
No, I'm with you. This is where the umpires have got to... The moment... Because it's so stacked in favour of the kicker, the moment he moves, call play on. Give the bloke on the mark, because you've only got 17... Basically, you've got 17 players. And the other one's like a lamppost. You cannot move the football, and you've got the ball. So, no, very, very ordinary decision.
So Brodie Grundy is now inside 50. He'll shoot from about 40 metres out. Out to the left, looking to become the 8th individual goal kicker for the Magpies this afternoon. Gave the last one off to Taylor Adams. This time he's set on goal. Big Brodie Grundy comes in. How's that for a finish? And he's very happy with his own work as well. Pumps the air and celebrates among his Magpie teammates. Brodie Grundy with his 2nd goal of the season and puts Collingwood back out by 17 points. 15-3-93 to the Bombers, 11-10-76. 25 minutes gone, final turn.
And I don't even necessarily blame the umpire there for that one, because they're instructed to pay that, Nick. It's the instruction that will be 50 metres each time, and I don't think it should be. It's got to be. So Grundy shaped the kick, and we're watching the replay right now. So he takes a step to kick, and Hine just automatically goes as everyone would. It's not as though Grundy was going to kick straight back over the man on the mark either.
No.
He was going to kick off to the side.
Yeah, exactly. So the umpire really, as soon as he made that move to play on, he should have called play on.
17 points, an equal game high, Collingwood's way. Time on final term after the Grundy goal. Chris back in the middle, can't collect it but just soccers it to the northern wing. McGrath, first one there for Essendon, kicks inside the forward 50. Moore spoils it away from right, down into the path of Baldwin, locked up by Pendlebury. Umpire circles and says, I'll have it. Right on the forward 50 for the Dons. Coming home to the city end, they're chasing Collingwood, Pies by 17.
Draper wins down the tap, tried to follow it up to go. He dives on top of the footy, knocks it out. Heppel picks it up for the Bombers. Hand pass back to Merritt, gets it to Hine, kicks inside the 50. Waterman on the lead, good strong mark. Not much Jeremy Howe could do about that one.
And that was a great mark, very good kick, well weighted kick. Let the player run onto it. And it's very difficult to stop those as a defender because you're either reaching over his shoulder and it's kicked at such an angle.
Waterman with 3-1, wastes little time, comes in, puts through his fourth, and these Bombers won't give up yet. Back to an 11-point ball game. Collingwood 15-3, 93 to Essendon 12-10, 82. The margin is 11 points at the 27-minute mark of the final term.
They just can't find that next one, can they, the Bombers? And it comes back to the centre clearance. They've been good in the clearances for most of the game, not so much this quarter where Collingwood have broken even with them and in fact had some really important ones when the game was right there. Now their A-graders in the middle have just got to get this clearance, give their forwards a chance to make Collingwood nervous and close it to 5 points.
Well, there's about 5.5 minutes left to play. You've got to get your best players around the ball in a game like this and keep them there because they know what to do. Get the experience here like a Pendlebury.
The roar from the Essendon fans again. Collingwood by 11. Back in the middle, Draper swats it down, but Jack Crisp at the drop comes up with it for Collingwood. Kicks out to the southern wing. A one-on-one, Hoskin, Elliott and Redmond. Redmond can't mark. Neither can Hoskin. Elliott spills underneath side bottom. He sockers it away, but straight behind. His hand pass and turnover to Pendlebury, who's tackled by Redmond. And the ball squirts out of play, so a throw in just forward of the wing for the Magpies. Kicking to the punt road end in this final term. Boundary throwing on the southern wing. Pies lead it by 11 points. They've kicked 6 goals to 4 in this final quarter.
Throwing back in. Draper tries to swat it over the back, but it came off his head, landed in the front. Crisp gathers, taken over the shoulder. And Collingwood will take it on the southern wing.
She's been important today, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Look at Nick Dacos, a young player. He's had most positions this last quarter. 131 metres as well.
Spent a long time watching these sort of games on TV with his brother featuring. Here he is playing in it. Kicks towards half forward. Cameron spoils from behind against Redmond. Gathered by Durham. Got it to Hine. Kicks it in the middle of the ground. Quaynor takes the mark for Collingwood. Kick was just a tiny bit too wide for the intended target. And Baldwin.
Pies keep it in their front half. 29 minutes played, final turn. Collingwood by 11. They're going forward again as Quaynor kicks it into the pocket. Down there, McCreary got away from Kelly but runs out of room. And a throw in the forward pocket for the Pies.
For all their exhaustion right now, these Essendon mids running half-backs have just got to get on the move here. Get really proactive, flick it round, just go for it. Risk being scored against to somehow get a good passage of play.
The Pies have got to get Adams on.
Draper just knocks it away with his palm, but Lipinski chops it off at half forward. He kicks it out on the full, shooting goalward. So Essendon will get it next to the behind post. Right in their defensive 50. They're a long way from home. We've travelled 30 minutes in this final quarter. Collingwood by 11.
Zerk Thatcher kicks straight down the middle. Ball on the marking target. Grundy there, couldn't complete the mark. McGrath with the hand pass to Redmond. To Guelphy on half-back. Hine off the outside of the boot. That's for you, Big Peter. He races after it. He's not going to get there as it rolls end over end. And out of play. Probably adventurous putting it out in front of a big tall forward. The Bombers need to try and roll the dice. Collingwood by 11. 30 minutes gone, final term.
Given the 6-6-6, there's plenty of time still if Essendon can kick one here. 31-minute mark, final term. Pies by 11. Grundy wins it down. Free kick for a hold. Grundy's way. It's against Draper.
Yeah, he's starting to get really tired now, Draper. This quarter he hasn't jumped as much into the ball, whereas Grundy, a bit more experienced, has been pretty good this quarter.
Grundy told to play on now. Shield hasn't heard the call. Now he tries to move towards Grundy, who kicks wide. Out to Noble, who takes the mark just on the defensive side of the wing.
They've got to close these options down. Can't let them just get a couple of marks in a row. Collingwood will just keep trying to work the ball or kick a super defensive kick.
Noble veers out to the right, long towards Cameron. Couldn't complete the mark on the second grab. Merritt at the back. Tackled by Ginnivan. Got the hand pass to McGrath, to Hine, to Redmond on the bounce. Over the top looking for Parrish. Tight confinement. Just got a hand pass away. Picked up by Cameron though of Collingwood. Got it to Josh Dacos, to brother Nick. Great creative hand pass to Lipinski. Harlem Globetrotters stop. To Noble, who just gets it to Ginnivan. Who was just inside the boundary or just outside, depending on which side you support.
Well,
Jack Ginnivan with 5. Of course, Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody kicked 5 last year in this Anzac Day fixture. Long to the pocket, Cameron up in front, just couldn't complete the mark. To go he gathers, hand pass out, it fires out to Josh Dacos, kicks to the teeth of goal where the mark is taken by Martin of the Bombers.
Oh, a hand pass to Kelly. Thought about going southern side. Hands it back to Martin, who kicks out to the northern boundary line. Long kick to half-back. Redmond forced to spoil. Down to Durham. He's away. Peels off a couple of Collingwood defenders. Kicks in hope down to half-forward. Howe's up again. Trademark Jeremy Howe. Takes another intercept mark as he's done all day to cut it off for Collingwood. And now the short kicking game's on. He chips it to Nick Dacos. Back to Jeremy Howe, who marks at half-back. The Pies by 11.
Goes short to Noble. As the Collingwood chance going to go around the MCG. 32 minutes gone. The Pies by 11 points. Noble kicks towards Cameron. Zirk Thatcher nudges him underneath it. Cameron 1, 2, 3 bites. He's got it. He's been paid the mark. In front of the biggest crowd since the pandemic, the 2019 Grand Final, Collingwood prevail in a classic by 11 points. They see off the best the Bombers can throw.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades show. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The Magpies led by 6 points at quarter time, by 8 points at half time, by 1 point at three-quarter time. We had 6 lead changes throughout the third quarter and early in the last, and Collingwood kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes. They got out by 13, they got out by 17, but the Bombers kept fighting. Collingwood eventually prevailing by 11 points, 15-3-93 to the Bombers 12-10-82 in front of 84,205 fans.
Collingwood forever, they know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades show. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The 27th edition of the Anzac match for Collingwood, that's their 16th win. The Bombers have won on 10 occasions, of course the one draw. For the winners, 5 for Jack Ginnivan, a big-time player, 4 to Brodie Myercheck, individuals to Quaynor, Grundy, Adams, Cameron, Crisp and McInnes. Meanwhile, for the Bombers, 4 to Alex Waterman, 3 to Jake Stringer, 2 to Perkins, 2 to Guelphy and 1 to Peter Wright. Collingwood move to 3-3. The Bombers are 1-5.
6 lead changes either side at three-quarter time. Pies finishing over the top with 6 goals to 4 in that final term. They snap a 3-game losing streak against Essendon and also in season, as Clinchy said, to get themselves to 3-3. They've now won 6 of the last 8 Anzac Day clashes, and overall they lead the head-to-head ledger 16-10, with of course 1 draw way back in 1995. Quick reactions, Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling before the presentation.
Well, I would never be allowed back if they didn't win anything. So you know,
the omen.
So you know, when I stand up and jumping up and down, I don't normally do that.
on the pie graph, Mick, as to who deserves the most credit, how much of a slice do you think you deserve? Is it
if they had a loss?
51%?
If they had a loss, but winning, you
90?
just you walk around. No, just walk around. I haven't quite got the same kick as our number 23, Jack Ginnivan. I can give you the tip.
Not going to dye the hair at any stage.
Well, no, I've had my hair coloured. So look, it's gone blonde. Oh, that was great. Sorry. Wasn't it fantastic for the crowd though today?
Yeah,
look, that's what we needed today. Two sides that, one's fighting for pride, the other one's fighting to have a little bit of luck because they haven't had it in the last couple of weeks, and we wanted a close. Well, it could have gone right to the death.
I'll come back to both of you. Here's Hamish McLaughlin.
Victorian Returned and Services League, Dr. Robert Webster OAM, to present the Anzac Day Medal to the player whose conduct and play during the game best exemplified the Anzac spirit, skill, courage in adversity, self-sacrifice, teamwork and fair play. The winner of the Anzac Day Medal is Jack Ginnivan of the Collingwood Football Club.
How about that? With 5 goals in his first Anzac Day appearance. He had 12 touches for the day. The very popular and enigmatic young magpie. And this is just, by the way, his 10th game of AFL footy.
I want to hear his speech. This is going to be a ripper.
Here we go.
Don't really know what to say, but I just want to thank Essendon for a good game. Appreciate everyone coming out. The crowd's pretty amazing. And just appreciate the AFL and everyone. So go Pies!
As he received the medal, he had a look at Hamish McLaughlin about, how about this? What do I say
Prior
now?
to the presentation of the Anzac Day Trophy, let us first acknowledge the performance of the Essendon Football Club, who are gallant in defeat today. Would you please now welcome Scott Pendlebury and Craig McRae to receive the Anzac Day Trophy from Mr. Simon Thorne, Iraq and Afghanistan veteran and member of the Victorian Returned and Services League State Executive. This is a perpetual trophy provided by the RSL in dedication to the memory of those footballers who served in times of war. The names of the VFL footballers known to have sacrificed their lives during active service are inscribed on the trophy.
It's one of the best trophies in the game. The wooden footing that it's on is an ironbark plank which was part of an ammunition wagon which saw service in Villers-Bretonneux and in France. And the bronze columns on the trophy incorporate metal that was salvaged from the battlefields in Gallipoli.
Yeah, it's outstanding, let me tell you.
It's such a great privilege to play on this day. We're very grateful for the opportunity to represent our footy club, but also the broader game. And, we're really privileged and grateful for that. So thank you. To Essendon, we wish you all the best for the rest of the year. It was a really hard-fought game. I'm sure there's many more wins to come. And can I just shout out to all our fans? Thank you so much. We're really determined this year to do our jump. We're really proud, and they keep supporting us. We're really grateful for you too. So thank you very much.
The voice of Craig McRae, coach of the Collingwood Football Club in his first Anzac Day appearance. And here's Scott Pendlebury.
Just want to reiterate what everyone's said, but thanks to the crowd from both sides. You guys are fantastic. You really make the day what it is. Thanks to Essendon. Fantastic game once again. And to our boys, well done, well fought out. Thanks to everyone once again. Cheers. Thank you.
Scott Pendlebury, more Anzac Day clashes than any other Magpie, the second most of all time behind only Dustin Fletcher.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the formalities of the Anzac Day clash.
We'll
Get home safely.
Hamish McLaughlin there.
Will the coach normally talk? I can't think of too many occasions where the coaches address the crowd after Anzac Day.
No, I'm going to go back a long way. Perhaps you do.
I can't remember you doing it.
Neither can I. I think it's usually only the captain.
The captain?
Yeah.
Which sort of goes against
I think I have done it a couple of
personality.
times.
Have you? Okay.
I just think I have. But maybe it was finals. I really... Maybe I'm wrong. I would have liked to maybe someone to acknowledge the... I know it's a special day, but I would have loved someone to acknowledge even the armed forces that are here today. Look, this might be the case, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'd love a section of the ground, small section.
I think there was on the southern
I know
stand.
it is today. I know it's today, but I would like to think that we have a greater respect for those returned warriors, and just have a little section where they can come and go and be free to it costs them nothing to go to the game. I don't know whether we're at that stage, but I'd like to think we can get to that stage.
There was a section on the Shane Warne stand which was reserved for the current servicemen and women, who some of them were part of the ceremony, because the reason I know it was the only part where there was any spare seats before the game, or what appeared to be the only space.
I'm talking about every round.
Yeah, every round.
Every game and every round. But I think it's a tradition in America where there's a small section given to the I think current military people. So I know it's different, but anyway.
I think in college football there's an annual bowl game between Army and Navy.
Yes.
They talk about that being the best atmosphere at any sporting event anywhere in the world.
They don't like each other, do they?
No, it's one of the most fierce rivalries, but the atmosphere, it's on my bucket list, Mick, that hopefully one day I'll get there. Collingwood winners here by 11 points. Boy, they kick straight, 15-3 over Essendon 12-10, so the Bombers had 4 more scoring shots, but it was Collingwood who led for most of the day. The Pies by 6 points at quarter time, by 18 at the half. They led by just 1 at three-quarter time, and then by 11 points in the finish. The margin got out as wide as 17 on 3 different occasions throughout the afternoon, but the fact that it never got beyond 3 goals either way probably paints the picture that we had one hell of an afternoon at the footy. There were 6 lead changes either side of three-quarter time. Ginnivan and Myercheck kicking 9 between them, 5 for Ginnivan, while for the Bombers, Waterman kicked 4 and Stringer 3. Earlier in the day, Sydney beat Hawthorn by 41, so a 73-point turnaround on the back of the Swans kicking 9 goals to 1 in the final term. And the news out of York Park in Launceston is that despite being subbed out with suspected concussion, Paddy McCartan has dodged that. There are no concussion fears around him tonight, which is good news. Now the game, Lingy, sum it up for us. What did we witness here today, the Pies by 11?
We witnessed, first of all, a great battle and terrific by Essendon. Their intent was so much better than last week. They've copped it all week, and quite rightly so, after some of their performances against Fremantle. Well, they improved on all of that. We saw a Collingwood team take the game on and play with dare and excitement, and it was a really terrific game to watch. But then when you break it down, you think, okay, where was it won and lost? Essendon, for 3 quarters, had control of the clearances, dominant, plus 15, up to 3-quarter time in the clearances. So they were able to pump it inside their forward 50 pretty often. They weren't quite as efficient as Collingwood, but they gave themselves a great chance. Collingwood were going to run the ball off half-back, and they did that quite well. Last quarter, though, Collingwood plus 3 in clearances.
Yep.
So when it really came down to it, Collingwood were able to completely flip that one strength of Essendon that had been there for 3 quarters, and it was Pendlebury and De Goey in the middle of the ground. They went in there and they pumped it in. They got those few goals that got them the win, and that was the difference in the end. They took away Essendon's strength and turned it into their real important dominance in that last quarter.
I want to hear more from you in a moment, Mick, as well, but I don't want to miss this. Into the Collingwood rooms, Andrew Mays is down there as the Magpies make their way in. The Pies by 11 points. Maisie.
Corbin, a lot of the players who didn't take part today have gathered at the far end of the rooms as Braden Maynard leads them in. Noble has the trophy in hand. Jeremy Howe with a big clap. And then he basically jumps on the back of Braden Maynard, who led in the troop. So they're a very happy team down here at Collingwood. Nice to see Nathan Kruger here too. He hasn't gone straight to hospital, so he's just holding that left shoulder at the moment. And we have to be pretty careful with this circle as well. And just a couple more to come through, including Brodie Grundy and the medalist himself, Jack Ginnivan, who's making his way to the circle now. And Scott Pendlebury's got a kid in either arm, as does Still Sidebottom too. So a nice touch with the families. It's great to see them part of these celebrations as well. All right, Collingwood fans, enjoy this. Very happy Collingwood rooms. We'll have to get a babysitter for Scott Pendlebury's kids because we're going to talk to him in just a second.
Can't wait. Looking forward to that. Maisie, Andrew Mays in the victorious Collingwood rooms. The Pies home by 11 points. Mick, so Collingwood get themselves to 3-3. The Bombers, their record worsens to 1-5.
Well, I did pick them for the premiers. But I did.
Admit that you had to eat humble pie.
Oh, well, I had to come out heavy. I wasn't going to sort of go through the whole...
How long were you going to wait?
Well, the first 5 weeks, I run into Essendon people and they say, what are you doing picking us? What you've done is sent us backwards. So I thought, I better come out and just get rid of that, the monkey off my back by just saying I got it totally wrong.
5 weeks, it's seen enough.
Yeah, that's it. I have seen it. Well, that was after last week. It was horrendous. But they turned it around today. In full credit to Essendon, their stoppage work was much better. Their commitment was better. I know Stringer was in the side and he's ended up kicking 3 or 4 goals, or kicked 3 goals. Merritt was there, had 30-odd possessions, so it does make a difference. But I like the way the Pies went about it today. I'm not 100% sure the way the ladder is at the moment. Lingy picked us a long time ago. Melbourne are the side to beat. I thought maybe, given they might have had a bit of a lapse in their second year, no, they're the side to beat. But where does Collingwood fit in? Where does Essendon fit in? Essendon are going to be now in the bottom 4. But I think the 8th side will have probably 3 wins, and it may well be Collingwood. So there's not a big gap, but the gap from top side to bottom side is immense, and Collingwood are in that 8th position, and I reckon they're probably going to be fighting it out with, like, one of the Dogs are outside it, Richmond are outside it. So there's a little bit to play out the next few weeks, but I reckon this is a great confidence booster for the Pies. Being in the rooms now, he's so steady and calm, Craig McRae. I think that players really do respond to him. Where I'd say that Bombers need to probably have another consistent game like this to prove that they can get back to what they were late last year.
They've got the Western Bulldogs next week, so it doesn't get any easier. The Bulldogs, Hawthorn and Sydney.
Yeah, but the Bulldogs aren't playing well.
No, we saw that with Adelaide.
It's a bit of a shockbuster next Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, then we got that one next Sunday. That'll be fun.
Game. I can't believe, Mick, you have one prediction. You've been in the game your whole life, and you're complaining about getting your Essendon tip wrong. I have to actually barrack for this team. you get to move on and make new predictions and go on in your life as an AFL pundit, and I have to barrack for the same team.
I won't lose any sleep over this result. I can give you the tip.
Mick, and not only you're down there in the rooms helping your prediction to be further wrong. Unbelievable.
Mick, can I throw 3 names at you? Because I need some help with my votes that I've got to give, because you always handball those to me each time we're together.
I'm a good hand passer like that.
You've only got one place to place these 3 names. Jeremy Howe, Jordan De Goey, Jack Crisp.
Oh, I go Jack Crisp. I just think, I think he's been probably the most consistent of those 3. Jeremy Howe marked everything that went near him, and which was good, and Jordan De Goey played it. It's a very difficult one.
De Goey was massive in the last quarter.
He was, but so was Pendlebury.
Yep.
Well, De Goey's ended up with the most possessions by the Pies. Perhaps Jack wasn't far, but what if the goal he kicked? I mean, you got to look at the goal he kicked. That could be the goal of the year, really.
It's pretty good luxury, isn't it? He plays Scott Pendlebury at half-back, then you throw him in the midfield for the last quarter, he gets 5 clearances.
Yep.
All of a sudden adds that composure when the team's threatened.
Yeah, De Goey's also got the ball inside 8 times, which is clearly the most for the whole match for any player. He's so dynamic like that. I don't know what comes of it, though. That's the trouble. If he goes in, I think he's running the kick efficiency 53%. So you'd like to think he goes through and actually hits targets. I'm not convinced on that. Something doesn't sit there to say, oh, look, he keeps finding targets.
Essendon had more inside 50s than Collingwood, and Jeremy Howe just seemed to affect either by actually winning it or their eyes looked up and saw him time and time again.
Yep. No,
he had influence without even touching the footy at times.
Yeah. Well, the 3 players you mentioned had roughly 400 metres gained, which is quite extraordinary. The best for the Bombers was McGrath at about 400. So even Parrish with all his positions 44 has only gone 310 metres. And again, I'll emphasise that by saying if he hand passed to someone who gets 50, well, it should be his as well. But
he did have 12 clearances, 7 centre bounce clearances and 7 score involvements, Darcy Parish.
Yep.
That's why I only allowed you 1 slot on the votes, because I thought Ginnivan and Parish probably lock up the other 2 spots.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I've only got 1 more spot left.
2, 25 or 38. Having spent a bit of time with each one of them down there, and it's interesting, I had a conversation with each of them. They're delightful young men. I know that De Goey's, they've said a lot about him, but I can only take them on face value. Oh, who wins matches? Who saves matches? This one had to be won, and
Brody Mychek might want to put his hand up for a discussion, given he's kicked 4 goals, but he's probably going to miss out. Jack Crisp.
Yeah, I think because you've got to win games.
Yep.
Jeremy Howe probably saved games, but I think you've still got to win.
And Jack Crisp had a couple of moments too in the last quarter where he had crucial clearances as well, where they needed Essendon. They got their A graders back on the ground, and that's an interesting. I think. I'll just quickly move on from the votes thing. I think Essendon, when they meet during the week and they talk about how they functioned as a coaching group and in the box, they will have a conversation around that period. I think it was about 8 minutes into the last quarter, just after one of the Ginnivan goals, and they had Parish, Merritt, Stringer and Shield all sitting on the bench. And it was while Ben Rutten was in transit from coach's box to the bench.
Yep.
I think they'll talk about that and go, we got that wrong. Too many good players on the bench at one time.
But Lingy, you're a captain, and at that stage of your, I'll say 2011, so in that period, 10, 11 and 12, there were already a lot of interchanges, but they weren't just willy-nilly, they were done by leadership. So the question is, it's okay for the coach to be on the way down, and whoever, but 4 players like that should be, as he's running off, should say, well, hey, like Merrick should be saying, well, hang on, I've got Parrish off or I've got String off. No, I'm staying back on. Bad luck, I'm staying on. He should have full right, and we spoke about leadership before the game. So I say that was probably more a player leadership fault, and then you sit there and you go, well, when can we change it? Because, the ball's on the other side of the ground. I think that's why penalty's so important, and side bottom. And Adams, because they will make those decisions. Now, I don't know who made the decision. We can talk about this later when we talk to Scotty Penalty, but the move to get him in the middle, I reckon, creamed the game. I won't say won it, because it looked like it was going to go to the wire anyway, but his influence in the middle in that last quarter was outstanding.
Jack Ginnivan kicking 5, winning the Anzac medal, an 11-point victory for Collingwood, 15-3-93 over Essendon, 12-10-82. We will be heading down to the Collingwood rooms momentarily as well for some reaction.
I just want to take up your point a little bit there, Mick. It may be unfair then to compare this Essendon group with how young, and I know those players we're talking about aren't young, but just where they are in their progression and their development. Because you're right, at that stage of your career, we would have taken over and you end up coaching yourself on the field. But that's the next evolution for Essendon, is to be able to coach themselves out on the field, like some of the key Collingwood leaders do exactly that. I reckon we might have one of those calls. Is that right?
Just a segues game, media. You're right at home, Cameron Ling, in this box. Let's get into the Collingwood rooms with Andrew Mays.
Smooth as, Lingy. I'll talk to you first of all, Scott, about walking into the rooms. You had both of your kids. You haven't been able to do that for a couple of years. How nice is it to share experiences like today with the family?
Yeah, it's fantastic, and this year it's been something that we've done a lot of as a club, just because we've been able to again. So, having my kids, still bringing his daughter in, it just makes these moments even more special, and it's great to share them with a lot of people who do a lot of work for us behind the scenes, and my kids were loving it then, belting out the song.
Yeah, it was great to see. Speaking of kids, one of them got the Anzac Day medal today, Jack Ginnivan. Just tell us a bit about him. I mean, he's going to be the type of player that opposition supporters hate and Collingwood supporters are going to love. But, geez, he's good for footy.
Yeah, he is. He's a good player. He works hard on his game. And I think that's he's a second-year player. I think he was off the rookie list. Don't quote me. I'm shocking with when guys come into the system. But, he works really hard. And, I feel like all small forwards, you either love them or hate them because they're so crafty, they're cheeky. They're all those things. But you've seen today, he's got some real skill and talent. He finishes fantastically, and even late in the game when he pushed out and got a really good contested mark for us, he can do a lot of things. And his evolution so far as a pressure forward into finishing has been something that we need, and he's become a really important player for us really quickly.
Now, before I throw you up to Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling, I just want to ask you about Mick coming back to the club this week. You're the skipper. You've seen obviously some great times with Mick, and you're going to have lifelong memories. Tell us about the impact that he had on people who he hasn't probably met before, and people you are now captain of.
Yeah, it was great. Firstly, to have him back, and then as soon as Mick finished speaking, he can still hold a room better than anyone I've ever seen. And as soon as he left, all the boys come over and to me and Steele, and they were just like, we're almost ready to play there and then. And just the way he holds the room, the way he talks, the eyeballs people. Me and Steele sort of had a bit of a running joke when he took the front. We both got a bit nervous like we used to when we were 19 and 20. So, it was great having him back.
Let's head upstairs. We've got a couple of minutes for a few questions with Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Gentlemen.
I'm just going to get in quickly, Pendles, and say congratulations, fantastic game, because now I'm just getting out of the way, because Mick's claiming that the victory was all because of him, so I'll let him take over now. As
Scotty, as if I'd say that, you know that.
No.
Scotty, that was a fantastic victory. Look, there's a couple of things that come out of it. I thought you're in, like, the Bombers displayed an urgency that they didn't have last week, and it put you guys under a lot of pressure. Their clearance rate seemed to be adding on to the score line in regard to they got the ball out of the centre, they put themselves in a position to score. You guys had to sort of come from your half back line and then open them up before you scored. In the last quarter, now I thought, not because it's you, but I reckon you made a massive difference to the structure and I suppose the experience that was needed around the ball just to steady the ship. I saw you talk to Grundy just to settle him down. So was that your move to go in the middle, or was it Craig's move to get you into the middle? Because really it did work outstandingly.
Yeah, we wanted to even numbers up around the footy, so it was more to get me back in there to help organise, and then Nick Dacos off the back so he could sort of play free and just use his run and dare. So yeah, it's probably a bit of both. Me to settle the ship in there and organise and make sure everyone stayed calm. And there's a few little complicated things that Essendon were doing that were confusing us at times, so it was just to make that simple for the guys around the footy.
So will this happen again, Scotty? Because you're far from finished as a midfielder on today's evidence, and Steele on the wing. He's he might lack a bit more depth than what he had before, but he's still such a ball magnet, and he knows how to set the play up. So, do you think you'll play more of that role, like a cameo role in the middle when times are needed?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's something we've spoken about. That I'm probably 80% back, 20% mid when needed, and it's probably for days like today, or when the opposition throw something up that we're not planned for.
Right.
If they need something to adjust, I feel like that's one of my strengths, being able to see the game and get it organised pretty quickly. So we're able to do that today.
Meeting's about to start, so one last one, gents.
I was about to ask about the two Dacos boys, and it's probably wrong to say boys because they're both individuals, but I was absolutely amazed at the maturity shown by both lads, quite frankly. I don't know if you want to say something about them.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. I feel like they're playing off each other really well, and like always, to have a really good pre-season, off-season, which both boys did, and then they flowed into the season. And Nick, for a first year, has been incredible, and I feel like Josh has really elevated his game this season as well.
Yeah, well, all the best, and well done too, mate.
Thanks, Mick. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Scott Pendlebury, the captain of Collingwood, in his 15th Anzac Day clash. The Pies home by 11 points. There were 6 lead changes in the game either side of three-quarter time.
It is funny what he said about you, Mick, with when you have a coach who coaches you when you are 18, 19, 20 years of age. No matter how old and mature you get and how much you grow up, you're still a little bit kind of afraid and kind of intimidated by that person. I'm the same with Bomber. I don't see him much these days. If Bomber walks into the room, I still get a little nervous, and the back gets a bit sweaty and think,
that's great.
Is he going to let me have it between the eyes?
The dynamic just never changes.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, I spent 12 years, and I remember Scotty come along in 2004-5, and took, as I normally do, take all the kids away from the draft and we took them down the lawn, and there was Harry O'Brien, Daisy Thomas, Tyson Goldsack. There was a couple others. It was a very good list. To this day, Nanette, because Nanette does all the cooking, and on the board downstairs we've got a card, and it's from the boys saying thanks to Nanette and blah blah blah. But you get a bit of an idea of what they're going to be and how they tell you stories that you didn't know because you recruit them, not that you have a lot to do with them early. Scott Pendlebury stood out, and in all honesty, I can categorically say this, he stood out as a leader. Interesting enough, what he said then, I had to sort something out because Essendon were doing things that we just weren't expecting. You think he was a basketballer, he knew his way around the basketball court, he knows how to intercept, he knows how to stop, he knows how to offensive play and defensive play. There was no coincidence that at the end of it, when Essendon needed to continue that stoppage work, it turned on them because of a bloke like Pendlebury.
And for so long, through all my experiences, we were taught that in huge games, and an Anzac Day clash is a huge game, as you said, equivalent to a final, when it's a tight game, and there's times the coach's box cannot influence that exactly 5, 6, 7 minutes, and it might be the most crucial 5 or 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
You need players who can coach themselves, their immediate group, and the wider group on the field.
Yep.
And to hear Scotty Pendlebury talk about that, well, I was there to work out what they were doing, to set it up in a way that gave us a chance, and then to allow the younger players, in this case it was Nick Dacos, to play with instinct, to not fill his head with a heap of information and
put
have
him
to worry
behind the
about
ball.
structures. Just play.
Yep.
Just play with a clear head and go for it. I mean, that is so invaluable.
Yeah,
because
the two ruckmen are the same thing. The two ruckmen weren't going to change. I mean, it's once they're out there, they're going to run at each other, and they're still going to do the same play. So it takes a player to work out that this is what's happening, and I need to run this. And Scotty's fairly demonstrative in regard to, when he starts to point around, you see players flood those areas that he wants. I've seen you do it. I've seen Wayne Carey. I've seen Michael Brett and John Worsfold do it at West Coast. Nick Maxwell behind the ball with me at Collingwood. you just know that they've got the leadership qualities to take things, as you said, the coach's box is such a remote place. You've got to go down the line. You've got to wait for a runner. You can't get the message out there. It's imperative that you have good leadership. And you know what? We spoke about this before the game. The thing that may catch Essendon out may be that leadership.
Yeah, and that's their next evolution, isn't it? So so Darcy Parish outstanding today. Zach Merritt's a terrific player, but Parish, Merritt, McGrath,
he could
Shield. And McGrath was good today.
Yep.
But his next step is
to lead.
To lead and to coach themselves out on the field and to take a look at the bench as they're heading there and go, hang on a second, we don't want that. We don't want Parish, Merritt, Stringer, Shield all sitting there at a crucial time in the game. I'll back myself and I'll stay on. I'm feeling good. I'll stay on. I'll reorganise the midfield and we'll get it back on our terms. That's where Essendon have got to jump to. They're not there yet.
Their tackle count was low again today. We emphasised it leading in, so just 40 tackles for the day. They were averaging 41 for the season leading in, which is the lowest in the competition. They laid 86 tackles in this game last year, and they were number one at that stage in the competition, averaging 67 per game. So
you wonder why it's a fall-off. Why is it fallen off so much? The personnel hasn't changed dramatically.
Just on that Darcy Parish as well, he had 44 disposals, he had 12 clearances, but only 3 inside 50s.
Yeah, that's...
So they took 17 marks inside 50, the Bombers, to Collingwood's 9, and yet that gives you an indication that more often than not they were going laterally than directly inside the 50.
Or catching it on the 50-metre line.
Yeah.
You know, there's a distinction. 50 metres is a little bit of a fallacy in regard to how well you're playing. It's more the fact of one marking to a kicker who can kick a football like a Peter Simic, like a Scotty Cummings in my case, these players are coach. Or you get into 30 and you give yourself a real good chance of kicking a goal.
But their third quarter, they changed, Essendon. They actually took it forward. The first half was a lot of just lateral, handball. It was possessions galore. They changed and they played so much better. Credit to Collingwood. They flipped it, though, completely in that last quarter.
We got to hear you break down the better players on the ground after the medal was awarded, but in a formal capacity. Who are the 3-2-1 Lingy in the ABC Footballer of the Year?
All right, I'll back you in, Mick. I'll go with Jack Crisp as the one vote. Sorry, Jordan De Goey, and big sorry to Jeremy Howe. But just like Pendles, I'm still intimidated by Mick as well, so I'm going to go the one vote. 2 votes to Darcy Parish. I know his role isn't necessarily getting inside 450. 12 clearances is huge. 15 contested possessions. 7 score involvements. 44 touches. And I'll give the 3 votes to the man who did deserve the Anzac medal, Jack Ginnivan. 5 goals and, he electrifies his team and his supporters. What a game he played.
What a way to arrive in his 10th game of AFL footy with 5 on Anzac Day. It was a joy to spend the day with you both. Thanks very much, Lingy.
Well called. Very well called, you guys. Fantastic.
Thanks to Matt Clinch. Thanks to Andrew Mays downstairs. To Craig Davis. To Stuart Hollywood Baker, our tech, best in the game, is with us as always. And Aaron back in the studio as well. So that'll do us on Anzac Day, round 6 coming to a close in the AFL Premiership season. The Swans with a 73-point turnaround, beating the Hawks by 41. And here at the G, a peroxide blonde-haired teenager, Jack Ginnivan, kicked 5. Collingwood winners by 11 points over Essendon. Catch you next week on Grandstand AFL.